The most winningest head coach in Turlock High School football history. Hello to you wherever you may be, wherever you may go. Keith Jogonanis alongside my partner for the night, Dustin Paget, as we get ready for another tip-top Friday night football showdown between both the 2-1 Sheldon Huskies on the road and the home team 2-1 Turlock Bulldogs. D-Page, a lot going on in this one. Last year, Sheldon at home playing Turlock on the road. Beat them in that one 41-28. They've got a way different cast of characters in this one tonight, and it starts with the quarterback, Sean Nixon. He's great at throwing the football down the field.
Yeah, Nixon, 8 touchdowns on the year so far here, Keith. He's just lighting it up. They're really offensively shining so far in the early going. Coming into this season, they were expecting to be a running team, attacking the ball on the ground. Instead, so far here in the early going, they've been nothing but lighting it up in the air, Keith. I expect them to be looking downfield quickly early here tonight.
You talk about it, Sheldon High School has progressively gotten better the last 3 years in football. 3 years ago, 8-4. 2 years ago, 9-3. Last year, 10-2. And those were all under head coach Joe Catalico, who came over from Pleasant Grove to coach the rival Huskies. He is out now, resigned in January to spend more time with his family. Now Dave Filan is in at the helm, losing in a tip-top matchup against another ranked team in the Sacramento Bee rankings, Monterey Trails in week 1, but they've gone on a tear. 2 straight victories, defeating Burbank 42-12, and then last week beating Kennedy 56-28. They can really put points on the board, this team.
Yeah, Keith, in the last 2 weeks, that's almost 100 points combined that Sheldon has put up. Last year's affair, they scored 41 points. Clearly here tonight, the Bulldogs of Turlock are going to be looking to stop the offense. If they can keep this in a low-scoring affair, as we were mentioning here earlier tonight, you and I on the car ride up, low-scoring affair suits better for Turlock here tonight, but if it's a barn burner, a lot of points being scored, watch out for the Huskies.
Right you are, D-Page. You mentioned the team on the other side of the football field tonight, the Turlock High School Bulldogs. 2-1, just like the Sheldon Huskies, coming into this one. Head coach James Peterson, his 11th year at Turlock High School as head coach, a 58-47 combined record. They started out their season similar to Sheldon's. Week 1 being a tough freedom team, 21-7. Week 2, they were not prepared for what Clayton Valley Charter had in store for them. 21-7 loss there, but they bounced back last week with a beatdown of Tracy on Thursday night, 43-14. They've got a quarterback in Brock Paisley who does a great job of managing the tempo, managing the game, but their offense starts with the class president at Turlock High School, Anthony Frias. 3 rushing touchdowns last week, over 150 yards rushing on the ground. This guy, when he gets in the open field, D-Page, he's unstoppable.
Oh, yeah. Senior Frias, 5'10", 205 pounds. He's a bruiser in the backfield, Keith. He uses his big body to help him get a lot of holes right up the middle. So expect to see him pounding it right up the gut here tonight. As you mentioned, 200-yard games. I expect him to have something similar here tonight. That's what Turlock is going to lean on. They go with a lot of quarterbacks in their roster. I was just looking at that. They've got 7 guys listed as QB here. Paisley will be the starter, but that doesn't mean that if he's having a rough game, Keith, that they might not go to one of their backups.
Right you are, as Brock Paisley, he was quoted in the Turlock newspapers this week. He says, a combined last 3 seasons, I have not studied as much game film as I have this season. He's ready to take that next step. And they, by all means, D-Page, Turlock High School, are picked by many to win the CCA conference this year by many experts. That's in part because they've got so many weapons on offense. But their defense, last week, 3 interceptions against Tracy. Christian Cruz had 2. Oscar Cruz had an interception. Held Tracy to 251 yards of total offense. We talk about this offense, but their defense really is something new. As here come the Tracy Bulldogs, or the Turlock Bulldogs, excuse me. Flags in the air, coming out to that famed Bulldog head on the west side of the field, as Turlock, who lost last year to Sheldon, trying to right the wrong on the road here at home at Joe Debley Stadium in front of a sold-out crowd. D-Page, you look down here at the home stands, there's not an empty seat in the ballpark.
No, not at all, Keith. The Turlock Bulldogs definitely have a nice fan base here, and Sheldon Huskies have a few travelers as well coming from our area in the Sacramento region. You know, it's a couple-hour drive on a Friday night through traffic, so give them credit for bringing a good 50 or so fans here as well, Keith. And again, these teams are both 2-1. Both started the season 0-1, have won 2 in a row. But the big difference is state-ranked overall 72 for Turlock, 207 for Sheldon, and national rank 847 for Turlock, 27-27 for Sheldon. So there's a big discrepancy there in the numbers. However, I feel like this is going to be a good battle, and the Bulldogs have all they've got cut out for them here tonight with the Huskies. It's not going to be an easy walk in the park here tonight in this home game, Keith.
Well, you talked about a deep patch. Obviously, a low-scoring game would favor Turlock in this situation, but no one talks about, for as much high-power tools on this offense for Sheldon High School, the defense. Combined 5 interceptions through the first 3 weeks of the season. Athletically on defense, the Huskies want to prove tonight they can both stop the run and make the big plays. They can make this a low-scoring game and give Nixon and company a bunch of chances to put points on the board and run away with this on the road.
You nailed it on the head, Keith. I think that this game here, the turnover differential will be a key factor into who may come out on top. Both of these teams can play good offense. Both of them can play good defense. It all depends on who shows up tonight, Keith. This game really could go either way. It truly is a coin flip tonight.
We are just under 5 minutes in this pregame. Keith Jogananis with you on the call tonight alongside my man Dustin Paget as we get set for the rematch of last year's contest. We've just flipped stadiums, ladies and gentlemen at home, as Sheldon now on the road in those white jerseys with the black pants, white socks. Turlock on the other side of the field in those old school, prestigious navy blue uniforms with the yellow trim, and of course the solid navy blue helmets with the yellow crest on the top. The Turlock band, as you can kind of see on our camera angle right now, just in front of the Turlock sideline, world famous, the tuba and all the jazz that comes with it. They are ready for some football tonight here at Turlock D-Patch. Like we mentioned, not an empty seat in the house, but that's the case always here at Joe Debley Stadium when the Bulldogs are playing on the home.
Oh, yeah, definitely, Keith. And the fact that we got a 30-minute late start time here for this game allowed for more fans to get settled, get in here, go check out the things at the snack bar, and get ready for what should be a really good game on the schedule tonight. And by far, probably one of the top 10 games in the NorCal region here tonight, Keith. This should be a really good matchup.
No doubt, many great games on the docket tonight on this Friday night of football, and we got one of them. It's Sheldon and it's Turlock, and we are almost set to kick this bad boy off, ladies and gentlemen. Grab the popcorn, settle in. It's Sheldon, it's Turlock, and it's coming up next right here on NorCal Sports TV. We welcome you back here to Joe Debley Stadium in Turlock, California. NorCal Sports TV. Sheldon and Turlock almost set to kick off this rematch of last year's Instant Classic. Keith Jogananis on the call tonight, joined by my partner Dustin Paget. Last year, D-Patch, Turlock not getting the better of Sheldon, losing 41-28, but that was in part because of some big plays for Sheldon on the ground. If Sheldon's going to win the game tonight, they're going to do it through the air, but they've also got a great running back in LaDon Johnson, who has had 3 straight 100-plus yard rushing games to open the season. If Turlock has any chance of winning this game, they got to stop him.
Yeah, coming into this season, there was an article that LaDon Johnson was supposed to be the catalyst this season, and he's had 3 great games, but they've had the offensive firepower on both sides. They've been able to throw and run the ball, which is always makes it so much easier for your running back when your quarterback is having such a good game out there. So LaDon Johnson, watch for him tonight. If he has over 100 yards again, Keith, that's a good recipe for the Huskies here to come out on top.
As you see the team captains meeting at midfield to decide who will receive the football first, who will defend. One of those team captains for Turlock High School is Anthony Frias, as now team captains will exchange sides to which they will be going to start the contest. It looks like Sheldon has elected to defer first, so Turlock will get the football first to start this contest. And what a game that we've got in store for you. What a game indeed here on NorCal Sports TV and D-Patch. We've been looking forward to this one all week.
Oh yes, this should be a really good game here tonight, Keith. I expect it to be start to finish a really close affair. JV game we saw here earlier, 45-0, not so, or 45-9, not so much, but I feel like these two teams here going to come out much closer, even closer than last year. I feel like it'll be closer than a 13-point differential tonight here, Keith.
Well, we will pause for a moment of silence, and the national anthem. When we come back, we'll get you with Turlock and Sheldon here on NorCal Sports TV. We welcome you back here to NorCal Sports TV as we are all ready to kick off Sheldon and Turlock in the rematch of last year's great battle out there in Elk Grove. And right before the national anthem, D-Patch, we should mention the tragic passing of one of Turlock's own students, Caden Farrow, who died in an accident a couple of days ago. We send our condolences to Caden's family here on the broadcast tonight. They had a moment of silence, a beautiful moment of silence for Caden Farrow. They have dubbed tonight Farrow Friday in honor of Caden, and everyone in the audience has worn white in remembrance of Caden Farrow. They also have a KMF patch, which means keep moving forward, the initials of Caden Farrow. A beautiful thing, and now Turlock getting hyped, jumping up and down, and listen, they talked about it early. Head coach James Peterson talked about it. If they're going to win this game tonight, D-Patch, they've got to get the home crowd in it early, and that starts with making big plays and putting big points on the board.
Yeah, definitely, Keith. They need to get up to it immediately. This is going to be a hype game. Could be a lot of points scored. Sheldon deferred for a reason. The Huskies are confident in their offense. They know they're going to score some points tonight, but they don't know where they're going to stand defensively. So they're going to make the Bulldogs get to it first here.
Lynn and Gilbert will be back to return the opening kickoff for Turlock. Sheldon won the coin toss, but elected to defer to start the contest. Encarnacion back to kick it off. Encarnacion to the right, Ibarra to the left.
A little bit of a delay here, Keith.
Just a bit. Ibarra boots into the air, and we are underway here at Turlock High School. It's a short kick, and it's returned by the Bulldogs. As it's going to be Cruz, who had an interception last week, who takes it to about the Turlock 29-yard line. So here comes Brock Paisley and his Bulldogs, who scored 43 points in a victory last week against Tracy. In large part, D-pad due to the man right back there in the backfield, Mr. Anthony Frias.
Oh, yeah, Frias is their catalyst back there. It was a good tackle from Malcolm Brock for the Huskies there on that kickoff, right at the ankles.
So here we go. Ball starts at the Turlock 29-yard line. Paisley will start in a shotgun formation. Frias to the right. 1st and 10. Jet sweep up the middle. Still going. Dalton Lynn out to the 50-yard line almost. A fresh new set of downs. And for Turlock, who had 14 first downs in their victory last week, D-Padge, 8 were rushing. They've already got 1 there to start the game.
Yeah, 19 yards on your first play from scrimmage. Obviously something you'll be very happy with, and you didn't even have to use your number 1 running back. You used Dalton Lynn there in a jet sweep motion, and it worked perfectly. A little bit of a slow progressing play, but it worked.
1st down. Pass out to the flat. This is Lynn again, and he gets a couple as he races forward towards the left side for a gain of about 8, so it'll be 2nd and short. See here on the replay, D-Padge, Lynn in space has been giving Sheldon problems in the first 2 plays.
Yeah, definitely a speedster in the backfield there is Lynn. He got about 7 yards on that reception as well.
Paisley has played both plays thus far in the shotgun formation. No different on the 3rd. He's going to hand it off to Frias left side, who trudges forward. Looks like there's a fumble. Sheldon signals they have it. They do. Sheldon with a turnover on the 3rd play from scrimmage. Who would have thought? The Huskies, a big-time fumble recovery, and just like that, Turlock, who didn't turn the ball over last week, D-Padge, on the 3rd play of the game, they've already got 1.
That is huge. We were just talking about how important the turnover differential could be here in this game, and immediately, 1 minute into the game, we've already got our first turnover. Let's see what the Huskies can do with it. 1st
down now, and the first glimpse we get of this talented junior quarterback, Sean Nixon, and his talented offense under center. It's a bad snap, and it looks like Turlock gets the football right back. Oh, a horrible string of events for Sheldon. They get a fumble on defense, but then cough it right back up on offense, D-Padge.
Yeah, that play was doomed from the start. Bad snap, mistimed snap, and the ball was never grabbed cleanly there.
So now Turlock's fumble doesn't look so bad as both fumbles offset, and we're pretty much right back to where we started 2 plays ago.
2 turnovers in the first minute of play here. Let's see if they're able to shore it up or if this game stays sloppy.
1st and 10 now from the Sheldon 40-yard line. Frias breaks 1 tackle. Makes the man miss as he is vaulted up in the air, and he is down by around the 1st down marker. It looked like a bunch of Huskies were in on that one. It's going to be Brown, the defensive back, who comes up with the tackle. Gabe Brown, who has 19 total tackles for Sheldon this year thus far. He's a big part of that at defense, D-Padge.
Frias will gladly take the 6 yards on 1st down, but yes, that was a great tackle by Brown, textbook.
2nd and 4 now. Send Lynn in motion. Lynn gets it. He is swallowed up in the backfield by a plethora of white jerseys. This Sheldon defense hanging tough, and right there was Jameer Harvey, as Harvey was the first one there, and then it just spiraled into Watkins and Norris and the whole bunch of white defensive lineman jerseys.
Yeah, Jacob Bias got in there as well. It was a multiple tackle there. 3 guys were in on that, and that was a big play. What was 2nd and 4, now 3rd and 5. Seemingly a passing down here.
Bias, 21 total tackles on the year and one of Sheldon's 2 sacks. First 3rd down attempt now for Turlock. Paisley has time. Floats it right side. That one looks to be incomplete. As they say, Lynn didn't get the foot down, and it's 4th down just like that, D-Patch.
What an effort there Paisley had all day long. His offensive line, great blocking there, gave him plenty of time to look through his progressions, find the open receiver, throws the ball a little bit high and wide, Keith, but very close. Looked like he might have had his foot down, but they did call that one incomplete, and that's going to bring up a 4th down situation where you're too short to punt and you're too long to go for a field goal, so your only option, Keith, to go for it.
So they will go for it. Turlock was 2 of 2 on 4th down attempts last week. Let's see how they do here this week. Passley has time, throws it. He is leveled. His receiver is at the point of attack as Harvey laid the boom there. And it looks like they might have gotten a flag.
No flag there, Keith.
No flag indeed, as the crowd was cheering, thinking they had a flag for illegal helmet-to-helmet contact, but there is none as Harvey with a big-time hit on 4th down, deep patch.
Oh, my goodness, Keith. That there, he lit him up. That was the biggest hit we've seen this season yet on one of our games.
So now Nixon and company back on offense. First play of the game was a fumble. This time they'll take the safe route, and they'll give it to their bell cow. And a gain of about maybe 1 as LaDon Johnson gets his first carry. You talk about LaDon Johnson, 512 rushing yards so far in the season, averaging 10 a carry. Had 181 yards and 2 TDs against Kennedy High School last week. But really, Sean Nixon's the one that drives the boat deep pads. The son of offensive coordinator Chris Nixon, who had a long historic run as head coach at Elk Grove High School, was let go to some controversial reasons in the area, but he's back coaching as offensive coordinator, and his son fires this one right, but it's dropped on 2nd down. A costly drop there as Wanya Williams, the leading receiver for Sheldon, could not bring that one in on the flat route.
No, he actually looked to turn up the field first, and that's one of the cardinal rules for a wide receiver. Catch the ball before you make your move. He was looking to see what yards he could get after the fact, but didn't pull the ball into the breadbasket.
Williams, the leading reception getter for Sheldon, 17 on the year so far, leads the entire team, 333 yards and 6 total touchdowns. As we get a stoppage in the action, and it looks like possibly a stoppage due to the field maybe. We can't see from our vantage point. It looks like that Frias had something he wanted to talk about with the refs, and he will come out.
I think it was something on his cleat.
Remayer checks in for Frias, so Frias for the time being departs stage right on defense. 3rd and long now. Shotgun for Nixon. Rolls to his right. Nixon going to tuck it and run. Now he's going to throw it. Williams with a great catch on the sideline. It was zipped downfield as Williams snags that football for a fresh new set of downs.
Wow, what a play there from Nixon. All the way to the right side of the field, rolls all the way out, and throws the ball into triple coverage here. Great play from both Nixon and Williams to get that first down there, Keith.
So the reception to Williams for a good chunk of yardage gives Sheldon a fresh new set of downs on 3rd down. You see right here in the replay, he literally fit this one to a tight window, Patch.
Yeah, as you see here, triple coverage down there.
1st down. Johnson up the middle, still going as he gets a gain of about 4. Make it about 2nd and 6 and close to 2nd and 5. LaDon Johnson, we talked about it, has started this season with 3 consecutive 100-plus yard games. And if they're going to win tonight, Johnson definitely has to at least match some of that output.
I agree with you wholeheartedly there, Keith. Oscar Cruz in on the stop on the defensive side for the Bulldogs, and he's one of their leading tacklers, Keith.
Cruz also had an interception last week against Tracy. 2nd down. They go back to Johnson, who bounces it out to the right side. Johnson still going, and he's wrapped up finally by a slew of navy blue jerseys. And we will get Sheldon with their 2nd 3rd down attempt of the contest so far. And you saw it on that 1st down rollout by Nixon and the completion of Williams. He can throw, but let's not get it twisted, D-Padge. Sean Nixon can run the football as well.
Yes, he can, and that's what made him so dangerous on that rollout to the right. They knew that he could be a running danger there, so they had to play up on him.
7:32 to play in the 1st quarter. Sheldon, 2nd 3rd down attempt of the drive. They're going to go left side, up and inside. Looks like they are stopped short of the 1st down markers. Johnson with the carry.
They're going to measure this one, Keith, out. No, they're not. They're going to give him the 1st down and say he passed it by maybe a half a yard there. I like the play call on 3rd and 3 there from Coach Filan.
So Johnson gets the 1st down. Nixon under center. They go right side. And that one is for a couple as LaDevin Johnson, number 21, had the rush there. As Turlock will sub some people in and out. Jordan, the defensive end junior, I should say, coming in. 2nd down now for Sheldon here. What would you say is this one, D-Patch? What kind of play call are they going to run here?
Well, Keith, we've seen 4 runs in a row right up the middle, so let's see them mix it up here. maybe a pass. Looks like we've got trips to the left. Let's just see if they have something going on to the left side here, Keith.
Williams, McMillan, and Thomas to the left. They're going to pitch it out left side. Johnson, he was met at the corner by a couple of blue jerseys. One of them being the senior Cruz, Oscar Cruz, 5'8" senior, 165 pounds. Cruz made some big-time plays against Tracy last week.
Christian Cruz also in on the tackle there. I wonder if any relation, Keith. But the two of them last week were catalysts. 2 interceptions from Christian and 1 from Oscar. And here they combine on the tackle.
So they'll take Johnson out of this one. They'll plug in another Johnson, LaDevin Johnson. Nixon in the shotgun. Rolls right. Fires it right side, and it's dropped. McMillan had it in his hands, and he simply dropped it. 4th down now for the Huskies.
And again, at this 4th down situation here, Keith, too far for a field goal, too close for a punt. Your only really option is to go for it. You're not going to punt the ball on the 33-yard line, and you're not going to kick a 50-yard field goal. So their only option really here is to go for it.
So Sheldon will go for it now on 4th down. They have not had to do this very often this season. They have to do it here. 3 wide outs to the right, 1 to the left. Nixon rolls right. Looking for something. Left side. No flag. And we get a flag now. It was very late, D-pads, but we're going to get one as Alonzo Yore got wrapped up on the left side as Nixon tried to throw across his body.
And you know what? That flag call was very interesting. You hear a lot of fans booing at the official there. But you know what I like to say, and I'll give the official credit on that one, Keith, is he made the right call. Even if it's late, you got to make the right call. And there's no instant replay at the high school level, so you only get one chance to make the call. And he did make the right one. It just took him a moment to realize, hey, what did I just see in front of me? Was that, in fact, a pass interference? And yes, it was. So it was a good call there on the 4th down play. And it was a smart heads-up from Nixon there. He rolled to the right. He had 3 receivers on his right. That's where he wanted to go. He saw nobody open, so he looked back across his body, found his 1 receiver on the left, found the one-on-one matchup, gives him a chance to make the play, and bad defense by the secondary there, Keith. That cornerback was right on top of him. That was a clear and obvious PI call. And
this will move the football up to the 16-yard line for the Huskies now as they get a fresh new set of downs, and Turlock finally gets called for a penalty. They have been flirting with disaster on that end this whole drive so far, D-Pads, and they finally get called for one. Up the middle, Johnson wrestled down as he goes in between the trenches. A slew of Navy jerseys there. Bullock, the defensive end there as well, to make the stop, as well as Jiwa and Galvin. And Galvin, the linebacker, is a big bruising one, D-Pad.
Yeah, just 3 yards gained there. And so far, they've really done a good job of minimizing Johnson on the ground. Both Johnsons, they've only been giving up a few yards here, a few yards there here in the early going. If the Bulldogs can continue to play that good a rushing defense tonight, they're going to be in a pretty good position.
Williams to the left, McMillan to the right. 2nd down. This time, Johnson breaks free. LaDon Johnson, he gets close to the end zone. It looks like he'll be out at around the 2-yard line, a fresh new set of downs, and that makes it 1st and goal for Sheldon. Johnson finally breaking free.
Best run of the day there from Johnson. He broke to the outside and hit the corner with ease, Keith. He's got a lot of wheels there on the ground. I like what I see from LaDon Johnson.
LaDon Johnson, the junior, 5'10", 190 pounds, plays linebacker as well. You talk to Dave Filan and his staff. He had such a new dimension to Sheldon's backfield and gives him another weapon out there. I mean, Johnson's so big and so strong. When he gets in the open field, D-Patch, it is so hard to tackle him.
Yes, and the Bulldogs found that out the hard way there. They have an injured player, and that was the gentleman that was right on top of Johnson on the end of that play. He's got number 40 out here for the Bulldogs. Hopefully he'll be all right.
So far for Sheldon, a 6-plus play drive that has taken off more than 5 minutes of game clock. And we kind of talked about it. We thought a low-scoring game would kind of favor Turlock, like you mentioned. High-scoring game would favor Sheldon the way it is. But right now, Sheldon playing the time and the clock to their advantage. It's only the first quarter, but the way they've moved the ball and also that penalty, that PI, did help a little bit on Yore, the tight end. But so far, Sheldon has shown they can move the ball on the Bulldogs, no problem.
Yes, this has been a great drive put together after the turnover.
So play will resume. And when it does, Sheldon will have 1st and goal at the Turlock 5. So here we go. Nixon will line up under center. Johnson at tailback. They give us a Johnson up the middle. He walks right in for what could be a touchdown. No signal yet. And they say he's just stopped at the 1. So Johnson inches forward, deep patch, but he can't get the 6 just yet.
Yeah, second and goal on the 1, and I don't see them doing any other thing than feeding him the ball here, at least for 2 more plays. I mean, you only need another yard here. He's been getting good push up the middle. Hasn't been gaining a lot of yards, but you only need a yard here. Give it to your big back.
Second and goal at the Turlock 1. I-back formation. Johnson bounces it out. He is denied. A great push there by the Turlock defense as Johnson tried to bounce it out to the outside, but there was nowhere to go. Galvan was there, as well as Jaden Jackson, the middle linebacker senior. And right there, this is a big play now for Turlock. They just stopped Johnson, what we assume would be a touchdown.
Rios Rogers was the first one to make the point of contact there, the free safety, and that's going to bring up third and goal. They've got it listed as at the 5 up here. Did he really lose 3 yards there, Keith? It looks like he did. Wow.
We will never know, but we do know is it has listed at the 5 here on third and goal. Shotgun formation for Sheldon. Nixon rolls right, has time. Now he's going to go towards the corner. Fires it, incomplete. Fourth down.
That ball was tipped there by Anthony Frias, Keith. Right as Nixon let go of it, he was able to tip that ball.
Pass intended for Williams, who could not get it. So Turlock does what they need to do. They bend, but they don't break. And in the process, they're going to force Sheldon now to kick a field goal to get the first points of this battle underway and on the board.
Low-scoring affair here, definitely, especially if this is a field goal attempt only, and looks like we will get one.
So it'll be Ibarra, who was 15 for 15 so far this season on PATs. Now he'll have to kick a field goal here from 22 yards. Kick is up, and it's right down Broadway and right down Turlock Drive. So Ibarra gets the field goal for Sheldon. It is now 3-0 Huskies over Bulldogs here early on with 3:31 to play in the first quarter. Sheldon strikes first here on NorCal Sports TV. We want to thank some of our sponsors here. Willie's Pizza and Wings. Willie's Pizza and Wings. Yum, yum. Good stuff. Willie's Pizza and Wings. As well as Benton Roberson CPAs. And American Asphalt. American Asphalt taking care of business. And, of course, FitPro GO. FitPro GO, the best tasting protein shakes and milkshakes ever. And, of course, the Turlock Bulldogs Quarterback Club. Welcome back. Sheldon up 3-0 after their drive stalls deep edge at the Turlock 5, but Ibarra's field goal makes it 3-0 Huskies real quick.
Yes, 3:31 left to go in the first quarter, Keith. That was a 7-minute drive there for the Huskies, but stalled out in a field goal. If you're the Bulldogs, you will take it.
So Ibarra now back to kick it just after knocking down that field goal. It's a high one, and it's right down the middle. It goes right back to Cruz. Cruz bounces it out to the left side, and he's tripped up at the Turlock 35. So here come the Bulldogs offense back on the field deep edge. Last time they were on the field, they got it to around the Sheldon 35, but they were stopped on 4th down.
Yes, and they also had a fumble in their prior drive, so see if they can get something going on their third drive here. The Bulldogs, we had a nice tackle there from Nico Cordero for the Huskies on that kickoff.
So Pasley back under center for the Bulldogs. It's a fake. It's up the middle to Lynn, who's still inching forward for a gain of about 2. And you'll notice right in the screen deep edge is offensive lineman and guard defensive end as well. Number 64, Andrew Bockham. A crazy story about Bockham. He did not play last week against Tracy. He had an illness, and the doctors kept him in the hospital overnight. But he says, I'm good to go now. So Bockham back on the field, and they need him. He's a big part of that offensive line.
Yes, he is, definitely, Keith. Good tackle there from Gabriel Brown, the second tackle we've seen from him here in the early going.
Shotgun. They send Lynn in motion. Lynn gets spun up at the line of scrimmage, and he's down for a loss of about 1 or 2. And right there to meet him at the point of attack was a couple of people, including Mr. Malcolm McLaughlin, who has 29 total tackles on the season.
Julian Amatuani was also in on the tackle there.
So Amatuani and McLaughlin get the stop, and now it's 3rd and long for Turlock High School. 3 wide receivers set to the right. It's a rollout. Pass lay, right sideline. That pass intercepted. Sheldon's got it, and there's nothing but room for Gabe Brown. Gabe Brown, touchdown. Sheldon High School.
How about that, Keith? He's been in the tackling game here so far. Now he jumps in front of one for an INT to the house. Very impressive play there for Gabriel Brown.
Gabriel Brown, who has 19 total tackles on the season. He now has another interception, make it 6 total on the year for Sheldon.
1st and goal, Huskies.
And they're going to say now no touchdown as Brown was down at the 1 yard line. But Gabe Brown with a big-time interception there that puts Sheldon in business right at the doorstep of the Turlock goal line, D-Patch.
Oh, but that's got to be so frustrating for Brown, tiptoeing the sideline, coming up 1 yard short from the touchdown there, Keith.
So now Nixon, Johnson and company back to work where their drive stalled last time. Nixon to Johnson. Tries a dive forward. He stopped, they say, at the 1 yard line. But now it might be that the ball came out.
Johnson stopped by Rogers.
And they're going to say that it will remain Sheldon football as Johnson tried to do the old dive over the top of the pile, D-Patch, but he was met at the 1 yard line.
Yeah, 2nd and goal at about the 6-inch yard line here, Keith. When the official on the side came up to mark that, he was almost standing right on the goal line.
You got your ruler?
Yes, exactly.
2nd and goal. Johnson met at the line of scrimmage. They're going to say no touchdown again. And now they will say touchdown.
We've got 1 ref calling touchdown and 2 of them calling down. So let's see what they decide to go with.
We're going to get a stoppage in play here as we're going to get a timeout.
No TD, it looks like. So it's going to be 3rd and goal on the half-yard line, and a quick timeout call there. I feel like Filan saw something that he didn't like on that last play there, Keith.
So 1:09 to play here as Chris Nixon on the sideline, the offense coordinator. We mentioned Nixon earlier in the broadcast, who was a coach at Elk Grove High School, long, illustrious career. That ended. Now with Sheldon, you got to give the Huskies credit, D-Patch. They have not been a football powerhouse, so to speak, over the years, but for the last 5 or 6 years, they have made the effort to turn their program into a good, solid football team, and they've done it the last 3 years. 8-4, 9-3, and then last year 10-2, a Delta League championship.
Yeah, Keith, they're looking to build off that 10-2 from last year. That's going to be a hard one to match, but they've slowly but surely gone up. As you just mentioned, the last 3 seasons, they've had 1 more win than they did the year before. They're 2-1 here so far in the early going, but they started off with their first loss. They would love to continue this streak of 2 wins that they've got. Both sides here on a 2-game winning streak. One of those is going to have to die tonight, Keith.
3rd and goal. Johnson runs backwards, and there's nowhere to go. Darian White was right there, along with a slew of others as Jacob Masihi, the defensive end of the nose guard, with a big-time stop. So once again, Sheldon cannot get 6 points as the Turlock defense, for the 2nd straight drive, D-Patch bends but doesn't break.
And that is about the only way that they could have turned that Gabriel Brown interception into positive momentum for the Bulldogs. He got all the way down to the 1 yard line, and in 3 plays, they moved backwards 4 yards, Keith.
Ibarra's 2nd field goal attempt from 13 yards. This one is high, not a lot of length, but it gets the job done, and it's 6-0 Sheldon just like that. So Sheldon, off the interception by Brown, cannot cash in the touchdown. They will have to settle for a field goal again. It is 6-0 Huskies with 30 seconds to go here in the first quarter at Joe Debley Stadium on NorCal Sports TV. We welcome you back here. The start of the second quarter now, and it's 2nd and 8 for Turlock as they switch sides of the field. Pass laid back in the shotgun. Sends Lynn in motion. It's a bad snap, and there's going to be a flag on the play, and we're either going to get a false start or an encroachment. And it is a false start, and that will move the Bulldogs back a little farther.
Yeah, it'll make it 2nd and 13. They're moving backwards here now, Keith.
So Turlock, who played pretty much, besides the pass touchdown from Fife to Pope for Tracy in the first quarter, played a pretty routine football game in that 43-14 victory. But Sheldon's defense has made them uncomfortable so far, D-Pad. I don't think anybody might have saw that one coming the way they were scoring points last week.
Yeah, 6-0 after the first quarter. Not exactly what we were expecting.
Passley back to pass. Rush coming. Floats it middle. That pass caught in stride. A big-time catch there. It's Cruz, the tight end, junior, right over the middle of the field. So finally, Passley makes Sheldon's defense pay on the floater to Cruz down the middle.
One play there on the replay. We'll check this out. Good ball over the middle of the field. Perfectly placed, Keith.
Passley with a great pass there, but you got to give Cruz credit on the reception, D-Patch. He had to go up and get that one in the middle of the defense.
That was not an easy play to make. When we're saying Cruz a lot, that's the third Cruz we see on their team here, and all three of them making plays, Keith.
First down at the Sheldon 40. Up the middle. Frias is drilled at the point of attack by a Sheldon defender. Big time hit there. And it was going to be, well, looks to be Staley on the tackle. This Sheldon defense, we mentioned the turnovers. They got another interception in the first quarter, and that helped them get the 6-0 lead as it's 2nd and 8 now. Paisley on the sweep. This time it's Gilbert as he breaks free for a couple. Branner on the stop for Sheldon.
Good running defense here so far for the Huskies. Really doing a good job minimizing yards gained on the ground.
So Gilbert comes out, and it's 3rd down now. A situation on 3rd down where Turlock has not been very successful so far. They're trying to change their luck here with good field position. Passley has time. Tripped up behind the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be a sack. Williams came through the defensive back, and he got Passley down for a sack.
Bias was actually the one who tripped him up by the feet there, Keith. And then he ended up falling right down into Williams. That was an excellent job there from Bias, just to get a little piece of the foot. You never know when you do that, what could happen, and that tripped him up there.
So now it's 4th down, and Turlock has no choice but to go for it. Another shotgun formation. Passley. Middle. Intercepted again. Another costly mistake. Sheldon with the 2nd interception of the game. It's Johnson. LaDevin Johnson. And Sheldon right now is giving Turlock fits on offense, D-Patch.
The 3rd turnover of the game, 2nd interception there for Passley, but I would tell you what there, Keith, that one was an easy one for Johnson. He didn't have to do much. Passley did not look off of the spot there. That was the same spot he was looking, right where he threw it. Very easy INT there for Johnson. If you watch on the replay here, all he has to do is just step right in front of it. He was almost right to him.
So another turnover for Sheldon. Now can they turn it into points? They were not able to last time turn into a touchdown, only a field goal. Nixon, bad snap. Now going to take it himself left side as he goes out of bounds for a gain of about 3 or 4. We came into this game with Sheldon having 5 interceptions total through the first 3 weeks of the season. They've got 7 now after 2 in the first half.
Yes, Keith, that's very unexpected here. Passley has not looked so ragged here in the early going of the season, so that there was not something we've expected to see, but long way to go here, Keith. We're not even halfway through the second quarter. Bulldogs have plenty of time to pick it up.
Ball now at the Sheldon 48. 2nd and 6. Johnson cuts it inside. He gets the first down as he is wrestled down by Christian Cruz, the strong safety, number 34, but not before LaDon Johnson gets a first down as he is moving the chains. And Johnson came into this game deep patch, averaging 10 yards a carry. He gets 10 right there. Well, actually more than 10 for a first down.
Yes, what a run there on second down, Keith. To move the sticks, and now they're in positive side of the field again. This is their fourth time they've been in positive side of the field.
Ball at the 48-yard line of Turlock. Nixon play action. Down the field. Williams diving for it, but he can't get there in time as Nixon and Sheldon had the defense of Turlock completely faked out on the play action. He couldn't hook up with Wanya Williams on that one.
That could have been a touchdown there, Keith. That was a very good play design. A little play action had Williams streaking down the field, unable to catch it on the dive, and you see him smacking the ground, upset with himself. But, hey, there was not much Williams could do there. He put himself where he needed to be. Just needed a little bit better of a throw there from Nixon.
Williams and Nixon can't hook up like they have for 6 times this season thus far. Now it's second and down. LaDon Johnson tripped up after a gain of about couple. JT Elliott right there as well as number 21 Frias again. We've been calling his name on defense a whole lot, D-Patch, but they need to start giving him the ball more on offense. We haven't seen a whole lot of Anthony Frias.
Yeah, they've actually been giving the ball to Lynn a little bit more often out of the backfield than we have seen Frias here in the early going, so expect to see that change on the next drive. I agree with you there, Keith. Give the ball to Frias a little bit more. He's got 100 yards in his last 2 games.
Now a big third down here in Turlock territory. Blitz coming. A screen to Johnson, who dives forward, but he will be more than a handful of yards short of the first down.
Rios Rogers with an excellent tackle there, Keith. That screen was set up to perfection on a 3rd and 8. He had the room in front of him. He had his blockers. If it wasn't for Rogers tripping him up at his feet there, that would have not only been a first down, but possibly a lot larger of a gain, Keith.
The free safety Gonzalez there as well, and now it's 4th down, and Sheldon will now take their crack at going for it on 4th down.
Our 6th 4th down attempt here in the first half, and we're just now hitting the halfway point of the second quarter.
And now we're going to get a timeout from Sheldon as they will talk this over, so 7:29 to go in the first half here. A low-scoring affair. 69 combined points in last year's contest. Only 6 right now at this point, D-Padge. And the name of the game has been Sheldon getting turnovers, but they haven't made 6 points out of it. They've had to settle for field goals thus far.
Yeah, right now, if you're the Bulldogs, the way that you've played offensively here so far with 3 turnovers and less than 50 yards of total offense, Keith, you've got to be jumping for joy that you're only down 6-0. At this point, it could already be 21-0. So, very big drive here, 4th and 4. If you get a stop, all of a sudden you're at midfield, and you could go down and score a touchdown and be up by 1 point in this game when really you're being dominated. So, Bulldogs not in a bad spot. Huskies on the other side, they're happy with how they're playing, sure, but Coach Filan wants some more points here, Keith. They don't want to win this game by field goals. They want to start making their mark on this game.
The ball is placed in between the Turlock 42 and 43-yard line on the left hash mark. Sheldon going to go for it. Johnson lines up right side of Nixon in the shotgun. They fake it to him. The throw to the flat is low, short, and incomplete, intended for Isaiah McMillan. And once again, Turlock holds Sheldon to less than a touchdown, and this time they don't get any points put on the board.
Jacob Masihi getting the job done, and he was also the one who stopped them on the goal line on the 3rd and goal on the 1 previously, and right there he was rushing up the middle on Nixon there. Nothing Nixon can do. Had to get rid of the ball immediately. That 4th down play literally had a 0% chance of converting there, so you got to love that if you're the Bulldogs. You don't even give them an opportunity.
So Passley's interception, second one today, cannot result in points for Sheldon. And this time they'll go right back to the ground as the run is to Gonzalez, number 22, as he is tackled down the near the, we'll call it the 46-yard line of Turlock, tackled by Harvey. 2nd and 7 now.
Jameer Harvey right in there with a very good textbook tackle. That's the 3rd one we've seen from him here in the early going.
Harvey has played a great first half on defense for the Huskies. To the outside they go, and it's Dalton Lynn. Lynn is wrestled down, but not before he gets a first down there. Tackle made by Isaiah Thomas, number 2. So they finally go back to Lynn on the flat route. on the wheel route, and it works to perfection for a first down.
You know what there, Keith? That was a great play. Got him the first down. Excellent. But the best part of that play was actually on the defensive side. Isaiah Thomas with that tackle. What an amazing tackle he made there. He was being blocked at the same time, Keith, and if he gets by him right there, that's a touchdown.
So first down after Lynn gets the call. Up the middle they go for a gain of about 1 or 2. It's Gonzalez again. Silva there on the tackle.
Keith Frias may be hurt. You know, we haven't seen anything from him on the ground. We did see him come off the field earlier on defense to the sideline. They were checking his cleat, it looked like, but I think maybe it's his foot because we're not seeing anything from him on the ground right now.
Number 5, Branner, the linebacker, was there on the tackle as well. Second down again. Gonzalez right side, still going, and he is thumped right there by a couple of Sheldon defenders.
Michael Sullivan in with the tackle there, and that was a good one because he had a nice head of steam, did Gonzalez there. Could have been a first down, but a good tackle from Sullivan stops him short. Going to bring up about a 3rd and 3.
Amatawani there as well. Third down. Passley hands it off to Lynn on the sweep. Lynn still going as he is wrestled down by Staley and Sullivan, but not before Lynn gets another first down. They go right back to Lynn on the third down. D-Padge, it works to perfection again.
Good blocking up front there on the 3rd and 3. Give him an easy scamper for about 12 for the first down.
Turlock's offense finally starting to get some life here. Ball placed at the Sheldon 26. White lined up to the left. Now they move Lynn in motion again. Lynn again. Bounces to the right side, but he's tackled. And it was a great one there by Gabriel Brown, who had the interception, D-Padge, and now he has a big-time tackle in the backfield.
Yeah, that's his 3rd tackle as well. I mean, Gabriel Brown, where is he not on the field right now? Very impressed with this young man.
Gabriel Brown, a junior defensive back and wide receiver. 19 total tackles on the season. Tackle on 3 more so far. It's now 22.
Yes, early going in the season. He's averaging 6 or 7 tackles a game. I mean, what more could you ask for your defensive back?
Second down now. Paisley, right side as he zips that one in. And still going as the tight end. It's a touchdown for Turlock High School. And it's David Cruz.
Wow, what a play there, Keith. After he caught that ball to get the yards after catch. And that is a key thing for a wide receiver and tight end there. And bust off a couple tackles there. Gets himself into the end zone.
So it was 6-0 Sheldon High School. But after Paisley rolls right and finds Cruz, after he breaks a tackle, we're deadlocked at 6. Look at this, D-Patch.
Check this out. Yes, sir. And then he fights the last couple of yards, too, by lowering his shoulder. And you know what, Keith? That may have been the longest touchdown call I have ever heard at a high school football game. Did you hear that, PA guy?
Did you hear the play-by-play guy? Wait to see what was going to happen. Angel knocks through the extra point. And just like that, Turlock has their first lead of the contest after Paisley, who had 2 interceptions earlier before that touchdown to Cruz, makes it 7-6 Bulldogs here on NorCal Sports TV at the 4:33 mark of the second quarter. We want to thank some of our sponsors, obviously the Turlock Quarterback Club, Benton Roberson CPAs, Willie's Pizza and Wings, and American Asphalt. American Asphalt taking care of business, as well as FitPro Pro, the best tasting shakes ever. And coming soon, Meeting Rooms On Demand. You can find them at meetingroomsondemand.com. Rates starting at $40 an hour. We welcome you back to the action as Paisley, who had one of his worst games, or maybe his worst game so far this season, hits Cruz for a touchdown. D-Padge. It's now 7-6 Bulldogs over the Huskies.
And the momentum all on the side of the Bulldogs right now, as we were mentioning before that last drive. Could have been a lot more points on the board here for the Huskies. They've left some out there. The interception return that stalled on the 1-yard line, that was a huge defensive stop for the Bulldogs. Really turned the tide here in this game.
And it's an onside kick. It's off a Sheldon return man, and Turlock has it. James Peterson calls the trickery on the onside kick. Angel pumping his fingers in the air. And Turlock has the ball right back. D-Padge, we did not see that one coming.
No, we did not. That caught both of us off guard there. Pena with the recovery. And you know what, Keith? The Huskies did not have much of a chance there. That was about a 6-on-1 situation. So if that guy didn't field it cleanly, there was nobody else there to field it.
It went right off the face mask of Jashawn Brown, and you got to give Turlock credit for having played heads-up football. Sheldon did not expect that, and now Turlock trying to add some more points on the board here.
Yeah, that would be something that they're looking for. Another touchdown here off an onside kick. I mean, as we said, the momentum was all with them, and now it's even more so. We get the third and final timeout called of the half here for Filan. Sheldon out of timeouts.
And if you're Dave Filan, Sheldon Huskies, you are kind of in disbelief how this game has played out so far. You have picked off Paisley twice, yet you are down a point, and now the secret onside kick. You can't field it. Turlock has the ball in your territory.
Yes, not what you're expecting, but that being said, yes, the momentum's on the Bulldog side. Yes, they just got the onside kick. 1-point game. They're by no means are the Huskies down and out in this game. You know, they're not behind the 8 ball. They're nothing like that right now. It's still a very close game. And stat-wise, the Huskies are dominating. So, you know, they can look at that and still say, hey, you know what, we've been playing solid defense. That last drive, a little bit of a flub up, but here is a good test for the Huskies defense, Keith. They're giving them the ball on the 44-yard line. It's a short field. Let's see what happens.
As you mentioned it, Patch, the ball at the Huskies' 44-yard line here. 1st and 10. Frias checks back into the game. Lined up right behind Tamir Bullock, the defensive end. You can only imagine what James Peterson is trying to dial up here with the 245-pound Peterson or Bullock in the backfield. Frias up the middle. He is met near the line of scrimmage by number 54, Michael Sullivan.
Welcome back, Frias, to the game, and let's see, keep an eye on him to see if he's hobbling out there, see if he's doing all right. He has played very little here in the first half on offense, and again, he's their catalyst. 3 touchdowns last week, Keith.
He's also the class president at Turlock High School. He was quoted in the paper this week as saying, I had to go to meetings for our student body, and then I go right to practice. So the president back in the game. 2nd and 7. Frias breaks it left side. Frias cuts it up, turns the corner, and he is knocked out of bounds by LaDevin Johnson, but not before he gets a big gain. That's Frias' first big run on the game so far, D-Patch.
Yes, and you can see why he's doing so well on the season. This is the first we've got to see him in person, and man, he just has a burst out of the backfield.
So Frias finally breaks free, no pun intended, and his first down now from the Sheldon 28-yard line. Under 5 minutes to go, 3:51 to play to be exact here in the second quarter. Paisley, for one of the few times tonight, going to line up under center. Play action. Pump fake. Throws it and just avoids the sack there. Pass was intended for Bullock. And Sheldon had some pressure on that one, D-Patch. They send the dogs, and they almost got him as a slew of Huskies were right there. Cordero, the linebacker, was charging.
Yes, and a good defensive stop there for Caleb Branner on the pass to make that incomplete. That was a very good opportunity there for a completed pass. If it wasn't knocked down there from Branner.
2nd down now. Paisley avoids the sack on 1st down. Up the middle is Frias. Still going after one broken tackle. Breaks another one, still going, still on his feet. Frias still on the move. It's going to take the whole defense to take him on this one, D-Patch. But he's finally down. Sullivan right there, but not before Frias, the Mack truck that he is, got more than a couple after breaking 2 tackles.
At the end of that play, though, it looks like he might have went backwards just slightly, and he did there, Keith. So he had the first down, but then he ran backwards a little bit, and it wasn't forced backwards. So instead of a first down, it's going to bring up a 3rd and 1.
3rd and 1 from the Sheldon 14-yard line. They run it. It's Bullock, but he's wrestled down in the backfield. Another 4th down will be brought up there.
Bad snap, bad timing there, Keith. That play was doomed from the get. And I noticed immediately that Paisley knew, hey, this is a problem. You could see the look in his eyes when they gave him the ball. He wasn't even ready for it. So on a huge 3rd and 1 play, look, they lose 5 yards there from that miscommunication.
McLaughlin, Sullivan right there to stop him. Now it's 4th down, and Turlock going for it again. Paisley under the center. Drops back to pass. Floats it left corner. Incomplete. And he had Darian White right there near the pylon, and White could not turn his body the right way to see the football, and he dropped it.
Yes, Keith, that was unfortunate there for the Bulldogs, and the Huskies got exactly what they wanted. That's what I was saying when that drive started. This is a test here for them. Short field, give it to them on the 44-yard line. They hold strong and force a turnover on downs, Keith. So far on the defensive side of the game, the Huskies are dominating. Yes, they're on the scoreboard, they're losing by a point, but they're really dominating defensively. This is the third turnover that they've had. This one was a turnover on downs. They've had 2 prior turnovers before that.
Filan, animated, clapping on the sideline, but he knows deep down he's sweating. He dodged the bullet there on defense as Paisley and White cannot hook up for 6 on the 4th down attempt. Nixon play action, rush coming, steps up, fires it downfield. Williams unable to get the catch, but it's a flag on the play.
That's a good PI call. The fans do not like it, but that was definite. If we see the replay of that again, he was draped right on his shoulder. And you know what? They threw that into triple coverage there. It just goes to show how much they trust Wanya Williams out of the wide receiver core here, Keith. They threw it into triple coverage against him.
Number 34, Cruz, will be charged for the defensive pass interference. We've got another flag that just came up, and it might have been just giving the ref his flag back. So Cruz with the pass interference on defense gives Sheldon way better field position, but you got to give it to Nixon there. He saw the rush coming on the blind side. He stepped up and fired it to Williams. He knew what was coming, D-Patch.
Yes, he stepped up, and he has good pocket presence there for a quarterback. He felt that coming from behind him, and that's something that only a quarterback with pocket presence can feel, because you don't have eyes in the back of your head. You can't see him coming, but you can feel him coming.
Ball at the Sheldon 33 now, 1st and 10. Nixon in the shotgun. Looks right. A deep bomb downfield. Williams once again targeted, but that pass is swatted away, D-Patch, and it was a big-time play there down the field by number 32, Tyron Montgomery, the defensive back.
Yes, there was a little bit of incidental contact there. I like that from the official. He did not call that a PI. That was not one. It was good defense. No, Williams almost dragged that one in, though, but the ball was knocked away at the last minute. Long ball, no good there.
So Williams is targeted again for the 2nd consecutive play, but for the 2nd consecutive time, him and Nixon can't hook up like they have been all season. 2nd and 10 now.
With just 2:13 left in the half, Keith, remember, Sheldon out of timeouts. They've used them all up here so far. On the other side, the Bulldogs have the whole 3 of them left.
2:13 to play, and Sheldon is out of timeouts like you mentioned, Patch. Nixon looks right. That pass caught in stride. It's Williams who breaks a tackle, and then he gets wrestled down by a number of navy blue jerseys. Jaden Jackson, the middle linebacker, met him right there, the first Bulldog there to make the tackle.
Yeah, Tamir Bullock actually tips that ball at the line of scrimmage there, Keith, on the throw, and it was still somehow completed to Williams. You know, you got to love the focus from Williams to be able to catch that ball after it's tipped.
3rd and 6, and we officially hit the under 2-minute mark of the first half. Sheldon, as you mentioned, D-Patch, has the stats to show that they've been pretty much dominant this entire contest, but they don't have the lead. They're down 1. Nixon in the shotgun. Johnson to his left. Pressure coming. Nixon going to throw it. That pass is caught down the left side. A big-time reception there for Nixon and the Huskies. And it's finally him and Williams hooking up. And right there, Anthony Frias was coming, but Nixon gets it out just in the nick of time. No pun intended.
That's the 2nd play in the past 3. We've seen great pocket presence from Nixon. I will not repeat it again. He continues to show good smarts in the backfield.
Williams gets his first reception of the game in the 2nd quarter. Nixon again. It's Isaiah McMillan who gets out of bounds near the 40-yard line of Turlock. So finally, this passing attack for Sheldon is starting to pick up some pace here, D-Patch.
This is a key drive to end the half there, Keith. Even if they could just get 3, they would love to go into the locker room with the lead. You only got a minute left. You got no timeouts, but you're driving. You're on the 40-yard line. You're only about 20, 30 yards away from a field goal attempt. And as we know, their field goal kicker, Ibarra, 17 of 17 on the year. So, you know, someone for point after attempts, somebody you might want to use.
1st down. Nixon rolls right. Going to have to throw it to the right side. They're going to say it is a catch. And Williams comes up with it. And Turlock thinks that ball hit the turf. The refs are now going to congregate. For the time being, Williams had the catch, but now they're going to say no catch and overturn that call, D-Patch.
Yeah, that's a tough one for Williams and the Huskies there. The official that was right on it called it complete, but one of the officials that was way out of the play comes in and overturns that call.
Nixon has avoided the pressure on 3 straight plays. And now, with under a minute to go, you mentioned it, he barred 2 for 2 on the night so far with field goals, but they haven't been from long distance. Both field goals have been from inside 25 yards. Second down now. Ball placed at the Turlock 40-yard line. Nixon back to pass, pressure coming, and he's got to throw it at the feet of those navy blue jerseys as the whole defensive line was coming in Nixon's face right there. He was going to be in trouble if he didn't get that ball out.
Smart play there for him. We got a flag on the field, and I don't think that's a hold, so let's see.
Might be intentional grounding.
Well, he had a running back right there, Keith, for the screen. I don't know. I'm thinking this may be something on the Bulldogs here.
Well, Nixon, on the intentional grounding, and they will say it's intentional grounding. He was inside the pocket when he did throw that football. So the ball goes back to the 50-yard line now for Sheldon. That now makes it 3rd and 20 with 54.2 seconds remaining. So now what do you dial up here if you're Dave Filan, D-Patch? I mean, you got less than a minute. Your defense has been stout. One would think you could hand it off to Johnson and just call it a day, and you did defer in the first half, so you get the ball to start the second half. That's probably the most safe thing to do.
That's a thought, but 3rd and 20, you're so close to getting into field goal range here. 54 seconds left. You could always punt it on 4th down. I feel like, why not take a shot down the field here? 3rd and 20, see if you can get a 20, 25-yard pass.
Sean Nixon, the junior, has been dynamite so far this year. He was quoted in the Sacramento Bee as saying, we learned from our mistakes in that Monterey Trails game. 2 straight wins. He's been a large part of it. Now he's got to be a large part of a big 3rd down conversion. Rolls to his left. Under pressure, he goes down. Rios Rogers comes right through the line of scrimmage for a big-time sack on 3rd down for Turlock. And now Sheldon D-Padge most certainly will have to punt this football.
And now Turlock calls his timeout after allowing 10 or 15 seconds to go off the clock there, Keith. I don't know why they would have done that. They should have called that timeout immediately. Try to save you as much time as possible here.
Nixon has been very elusive, D-Padge, but Rogers got through right there, and he finally gets him down for the first sack of the night.
2 timeouts left here for the Bulldogs, 40 seconds. As long as the Huskies get a decent enough punt off here, that it's probably going to be the last action we see here of the half. I don't feel like the Bulldogs are going to take too much of a shot down the field, but hey, they've got 2 timeouts remain.
If you're just joining us here on NorCal Sports TV, hello, wherever you are, wherever you may be, and wherever you may go. Keith Jogonatis on the call alongside my partner for the night, Dustin Padgett. D-Pads, this game has gotten off to a weird start. Sheldon, 2 interceptions, only were able to get 2 field goals out of it. Could be up way more right now. As a result, Turlock got the football, touchdown pass from Brock Paisley to Cruz, and they have the lead 7-6.
Yes, it's kind of a topsy-turvy type affair. Sheldon's been the better team so far, but right now, Turlock's out in front. And on the car right up here, I mentioned low-scoring affair, I feel like, favors the Bulldogs. And as according to the scoreboard, that's right where we're at. And unless the Sheldon Huskies put it together offensively in the second half, they're going to be facing the 8 ball here.
So now it's 4th down, and Sheldon will send Williams back in the backfield, lined up at least 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. Cade Gilbert back to return this punt. It's a good punt by Williams. Gilbert signals fair catch. Closing in on him was Brown, but he is able to snag the punt no problem as Turlock will start this drive from what looks to be their own 30-yard line, and 35.8 seconds to go. D-Padge, 2 timeouts. I mean, they've got some stuff to work with, but at the same time, you could always take this ball and just run it and call it a half.
Yeah, you've been outplayed in the half and you're still winning. I feel like the smart thing to do on your own 30-yard line here is just that. Take a run, maybe even take a knee. You got 2 timeouts, though, so they may try 1 shot down the field, see if they can get a big chunk, and then play it from there.
1st and 10 from the Bulldog 30-yard line. 2 wide receivers set up to the left and right. That pass is very, very dangerously thrown. It's batted down by Branner, the linebacker, but it was very close. If Branner opens up his hands, D-Pads, that might be an interception again, the 3rd one for Paisley.
Yeah, not only if he opens up his hands, but if he turns up the field just slightly, that could have been a pick 6, Keith. That is dangerous. That's what we were just saying. It's probably safest for them here to try and run it out. And that wasn't even a throw down the field. That was a short throw, so kind of a confusing play call there for Paisley and the Bulldogs.
Shotgun formation on 2nd and 10. Paisley steps up in the pocket, floats over the middle. That pass is tipped up in the air, incomplete, intended for Darian White. The Husky secondary was right on top of it. Evan Johnson was there, as Jajit Beam was there as well, the linebacker. Great coverage there. Brown left side. They were all over that one, D-Patch.
Yes, and even though with that ball tipped, it almost came down in the hands of White there, and that could have been a dangerous catch. If he gets that, he might have taken it to the house.
27 seconds to play in the first half. Paisley will line up again in the shotgun. Cruz lined up to the left. He's got Williams covering him. We'll see what happens here. They're for sure passing it, though, by the look of it, Badge. Here we go. 3rd and 10. They give it up the middle to Frias. Frias breaks it. He's got the first down and more. Frias still going. Breaks one tackle. Wrestled down at the Sheldon 49-yard line. Williams with a tackle. It was a fake, and then the handoff, and Frias gets him a first down. 17 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to use one of their 2 remaining timeouts here, Keith. But even then, not really in field goal range, not really in touchdown range. That was just a safe run to try to end the half here in a smart fashion. And they will get their timeout here. It's going to leave them 1 left. So your only hope here really is to throw the ball about 30 yards down the field and hope you get into field goal range.
So Anthony Frias, these last couple of plays that he's had the ball in his hands, has gotten off to a way better start than he did to start this contest. And it looks like he's finally in this game, Mr. Class President. And like you mentioned at D-Patch, their offense works way different when Frias has the ball and he's running rep shot.
Yeah, he's a burst out of the backfield. You know, he brings something different to the table than Dalton Lynn brings. He's just got that natural running back ability. You expect to see that name in the future, Anthony Frias. We'll be seeing him play football for quite some time to come, Keith.
Quite some time to come, and for the time being, he plays for Turlock, and he's been playing very well here in the second quarter especially. He gives Turlock great field position here with 17 seconds to go. Ball at the Sheldon 48. And Turlock potentially with a chance to tack on some more points if they play their cards right. 1st and 10. Paisley has time. Gonna throw the deep ball down the field. It's caught, it's dropped. Oh man, White had it and he dropped it.
That was good defense at the last second there to save that one. Isaiah Thomas knocks that ball away. Could have been a touchdown, Keith.
For the time being, it looked like White had it in his grasp, but Isaiah Thomas, as you mentioned, Destin Pageant with the big-time deflection.
See a replay of it here, Keith. The last minute he gets his hand up, knocks that away from him.
2nd and 10 now. Paisley floats it left side this time. Got a man down there. It's incomplete. Intended for Pena. No flags. And a big-time defensive pass coverage, big-time play by Williams.
Yeah, Wanya Williams, what doesn't he do, Keith? He plays cornerback, he plays wide receiver, and he's also the punter. He's a very athletic young man, you know, one of their top dogs.
5.6 seconds to go. They go for White on first down, incomplete. Then they throw the deep ball to Pena, left side, incomplete. You got to give Sheldon's defensive backs credit, Dustin Pageant. They have hung tough here to end the first half.
Hail Mary time here, Keith, as you see most of the defense is going to move way back. I was wondering to see if Turlock was going to use their final timeout to kind of try to set up the Hail Mary situation. They very well may as they're stalling, and they will do just that.
So we get another timeout. It's the final one for Turlock. I mean, you have it, might as well use it. So they could do multiple things there, D-Pads. You've seen in the last couple of plays, Turlock has been able to get the deep ball downfield. Great coverage by Sheldon, but nonetheless, Paisley has had time on the last couple of plays. Great offensive line play, and they've been close to hitting pay dirt.
Well, there's two options here on this play. You can either go for the traditional Hail Mary, or you could try a hook and ladder. And the hook and ladder here may work out. They've got an opportunity because, as you've seen, the lineup for the defense for the Huskies on the last play, the secondary moved 20 yards back. So if you try a 15-yard throw across the middle and do the hook and ladder down the field, may be your best option to try to score a touchdown here.
Go all Boise State, Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Wasn't that a nice one? Well, we'll see what James Peterson in his 11th year here at Turlock can do. Joe Debley Stadium, named after the most winningest head coach in Turlock history, renovated in 2016. looking brand spanking new and good as ever here in 2019.
Rushing just 3, Keith.
Third down. Lynn in motion. He'll go to the right. Paisley dumps it off. This is Frias. He's got some room and some blockers. Frias cuts it back to the right side. Frias is going to block. He's going to turn the corner. This is going to be close. Frias still going. Frias to the end zone.
Short. I think
short.
I think he's about 2 yards short, Keith. How about that play to end the half? Oh, my.
Frias was close to breaking a 48-yard run after the reception, but he falls just 2 yards short, and that'll end a interesting first half, to say the least. After the first half, the score, Turlock 7, Sheldon 6. Let's look at the replay before we go, D-Patch.
I'm at shock at how many open extra yards he got after the catch here, Keith. Came so close.
Stiff-armed a defender in his way. What a play by Sheldon's defense right there, D-Patch. And we'll take a break. When we come back, the second half and the conclusion to a low-scoring but very highly exciting football game here on NorCal Sports TV. Hello there. Welcome back. We missed you so much. Don't worry. We're right back with you here on NorCal Sports TV and a great matchup here at Joe Debley Stadium, where the home team, the Turlock Bulldogs, hold a close, significant, but very short lead, 7-6, over the visiting Sheldon Huskies. Keith Jogonanis on the call with you tonight, alongside my man Dustin Padgett. D-Padge, the Huskies have forced over 2 turnovers in the first half, 2 interceptions. They got them down to the goal line. They had to settle for field goals. Turlock's Brock Paisley has had a up-and-down game, to say the least. He's had 2 interceptions, but he also had the touchdown to Cruz that gave him the 7-6 lead.
Yes, Keith, it was an intriguing first half there. The Huskies have outplayed the Bulldogs here so far. They've got more yards on the ground. They've got more yards in the air. They forced more turnovers. But on the scoreboard, we see the Bulldogs are out in front by 1. Well, the reason for that being is that the Huskies were unable to capitalize on those turnovers. The 1 interception, they returned it, which looked like was to the house, but they were knocked out of bounds on the 1-yard line. Brown was unable to get in. And in the next 3 plays, the Bulldogs stopped them on the goal line stand on 1st and goal on the 1. And that, Keith, was the most important drive of the game. The shortest field position you can ask for as a team for the Huskies. You start first down on that drive on the 1-yard line, and you're unable to come out of there with a touchdown. And that is the reason we're in a 1-point lead for the Bulldogs instead of a 4-point lead for the Huskies.
You mentioned that interception return by Gabe Brown. How critical it was that Turlock got him out of bounds on that one. That could have very well been 6 points. We'd be looking at a whole different football game. You mentioned the man who threw that interception, Brock Paisley. No interceptions last week against Tracy. He's got 2 so far tonight. He has a touchdown to Cruz. He's got to be very careful in the second half of what he does with the football.
Yes, Keith, that's a good point to make. He's actually had 4 throws in the first half that could have been intercepted. Only 2 of them were, but they were. He's leading the cornerbacks into the interceptions with his eyes. You got to be able to look across your receivers. You got to be able to know when to look at your guy and look away from him. He's really leading it right with his eyes, and that's the thing that he needs to focus on the most. He's got a good arm. He's throwing the ball well. He just has to focus on being able to look away from his receivers instead of zoning in right on where he's going to throw the ball, because the Huskies picked up on that in the first half, Keith, and they're going to continue to look for him to make those mistakes.
Mistakes indeed, and if you're Sheldon High School, you talk about those mistakes. You've gotten the mistakes, but you haven't put it in the end zone. What's got to change in that play calling when they get down there again in the second half?
You know what, Keith? I feel like that the last drive that was on the goal line, the first goal on the 1, they didn't do anything different other than go right up the middle to LaJohn Johnson, and normally that's going to be a winning formula, but that time it did not work. The Bulldogs were looking for it. So if you're in the red zone, try a play-action pass. Try rolling out with Nixon. He's good in the backfield. He's a very well-moving quarterback. He's got good pocket presence. Give him a chance to make a play with his legs or with his arm instead of just trying to go right up the middle every single time. You got to mix it up a little bit in the red zone, Keith.
As you can see it in the background, D-pads, the white jerseys and the plain white helmets of the Sheldon Huskies make their way back onto the opposite side of the field from us, just straight ahead, as the Turlock cheerleaders have crowded around on 2 sides in front of that inflatable Bulldog head, a fixture here at Turlock High School at Joe Debley Stadium. And right now, actually, for Turlock High School, they're in the process of having their 100 years of Turlock football chronicled in a book by Richard Palinelli. I hope I'm saying that right. Richard Palinelli. He has made a book called From the Fields, A History of Prep Football in Turlock, California. So they got their own book here at Turlock, California, chronicling 100 years of football. That's pretty cool.
Yes, Keith, you don't see that very often. I was looking at that a little bit earlier today on their website. You know, the history of Turlock football since 1920. You know, obviously 2019, that's almost a full 100 years. And how many teams in the Northern California region or even in the United States have those types of things in their program, 100-year history where you got a website? Turlock here clearly cares about their football program.
Turlock in the midst of a book chronicling their 100 years of high school football and trying to add another chapter to it tonight by redeeming themselves after that loss last year on the road in Elk Grove to Sheldon. 7-6. I mean, D-Patch, a lot of keys here in the second half. What has to change for both teams if they're going to come away with a victory here tonight?
Well, for the Huskies, it's clearly finishing your drives. The Huskies have had the ball on the move. They've had a lot of good positive yards gained. They've played a good game both sides of the ball. Forced turnovers on the defensive side. You can't ask much more of them than that on defense. So offensively, they just got to score some more points. On the flip side, the Bulldogs, if they want to win this game, they've got to play better. Simple as that, Keith. In the first half, the Bulldogs did not play a good game. They turned the ball over 3 times, a fumble in the first drive, and then 2 interceptions. They also had a turnover on down, so 4 possessions turned into turnovers. They've got to fix that here, Keith. They've got to protect the ball, and they've got to get some plays down the field. And right now, at the end of that first half, we saw Frias get loose for a few runs, including the final play of the half. He went 47 yards when he needed 48 for the touchdown. Ends up getting knocked out of bounds at the 1-yard line.
Sheldon is on the field as we speak. They have come back for the second half. They're doing stretches, and Nixon's out in the field right now playing catch with Williams. They were only able to hook up twice in the first half. That's something they're not used to, as finally Turlock comes through the Bulldog head, busts through the confetti and the paper banner, and they're back on the field now as we are all but set to conclude this one here in the second half. D-Padge, this is going to be interesting.
Yes, it could go either way here, Keith. If the stats say who's going to win, we'll say the Huskies. But if the scoreboard shows right now it's the Bulldogs, and the Bulldogs are at home, they're the higher-ranked team. They were the favorites coming into this game, whether it be a slight margin or not. So they got to take that into consideration. They played a bad first half, so they're probably going to play better in the second half. I mean, it's going to be hard for them not to play as bad as they did in the first half. So if they just put a little bit together, a good half here, a little bit better than they did in the first, they could easily come out on top. 1-point game could go either way.
As Turlock now getting into their lunges, and it's so hard to hear yourself think from up here. Folks, we do high school football every week. We've been coming to places all around the area. I don't think we've ever been to an environment like Joe Debley Stadium. The people have filled the entire bleachers completely. The cheerleaders are on their feet. The band in all white shirts. What a raucous environment we've been in so far tonight, D-Patch.
I hear you on that, Keith. I could have told you that right when we walked in and we saw that inflatable Bulldog. I was telling you, hey, we don't see very many high school teams that have their own inflatable mascot, something like that the players are running out of. Super cool. As we see it being deflated now, however, Keith, so it looks like they're not going to leave it up for the whole remainder of the game.
You gotta conserve the air, I would assume. I mean, the budget only allows you to do so many things.
Well, they're no longer.
The electric bill is not cheap.
They're no longer running players out of it, Keith, so I feel like it's suited its need for the night.
All right, so the Bulldog helmet on the west side of Joe Debley Stadium is, I guess the term would be deflated, but we're anything but deflated here. We are less than a minute from the second half starting, as Turlock and Sheldon will end another chapter in their football rivalry. Two teams from two different sides of Northern Cali will end this one tonight. Turlock up north. Sheldon from the Grove and EG. Something's got to give here as you look at Brock Paisley on the sidelines. Obviously, he wants to have a way better second half than he did first half. D-Padge. Sean Nixon did a great job of evading pressure. One of them is going to have to make a play. But also, you talk about the running backs. LaDon Johnson and Anthony Frias both had their opportunities. Frias got free. Johnson has been held in check a little bit. But one of them is going to have to break one really to put a stamp on this one, I feel like.
Yes, I agree with you, Keith. The next big run from the running back we see may be a big momentum boost here. And the first drive here for the Huskies, very key. Right now the momentum is all with the Bulldogs. They've scored the last 7 points. They ended the last half with a 47-yard scamper all the way down to the 1-yard line. If it wasn't for the clock running out, the Bulldogs would have scored another touchdown likely there, Keith.
Everett Johnson is on the sideline, the senior guard and defensive tackle, giving them a pep talk and a pump up, saying, come on, guys, we got to get in this now, as Sheldon elected to defer in the first half, so they will receive the football first in the second half. Diego Angel, the kicker, number 71, back to kick this football off. Thomas and Williams back to receive the kickoff. LaDevin Johnson has it. Johnson switching direction, gets a block from Williams. LaDevin Johnson on the move as Angel forces him to the sideline, and a great start for Sheldon as LaDevin Johnson went left and he went right, went back left D-Padge, and he got a pretty good start to this one, field position-wise for the Huskies.
What a play there from Johnson. He was going to the right side of the field, Keith, and noticed, hey, wait a minute, I don't have much room here. Stops on a dime, cuts back across the field, and gets another 30 yards.
Sean Nixon, no interceptions in the first half, D-Patch, but no touchdowns either. He's had 3 or more in back-to-back weeks in victories. You definitely would want to see him get going if you're a Sheldon fan. Shotgun formation for the Huskies. Amatawani will come on the offensive line now. Johnson, left side handoff. He trudges forward for what looks to be a gain of about 2 or 3. Oscar Cruz was there, involved in the fray. Christian Cruz, the strong safety there as well, D-Patch, and the Cruz brothers, as we call them, maybe no relation, maybe relation, but the Cruz brothers definitely held their own in the first half on defense.
Yes, and they come out again right there, and they're both right on top of it. We also got the Cruz on the offensive end as well that tied in with the touchdown. So all 3 of the Cruzes are making their mark on this game.
2nd and 8 now from the Sheldon 48. The pitch is right side to LaDon Johnson. He busts it out to the right side. Johnson stiff arms one man, gets to the corner, but a flag on the play. And it looks like it's going to be holding, and it looks like this one's going to be coming back.
Yep, that'll be a holding call on Sullivan there.
Michael Sullivan with the hold right there, and that will set Sheldon back as Johnson finally got a big play there, but to no avail, D-Pad, and this ball is going to be set right back at the Sheldon 43-yard line.
Might have been Johnson's best run of the game right there, Key, so it's unfortunate for him that it was taken back, but at least he was able to get it done, so let's see if he can build on that.
So Johnson finally gets the gears going. The bad side, it's a holding call on Sullivan, and it's now 2nd and 13. Nixon in the shotgun. Sheldon having some trouble on the offensive line. They're not able to get these guys in on time. They've had to stop to get guys on the offensive line. Nixon back to pass. Pressure coming. Rolls right, and he's finally wrestled down again by Anthony Frias. 2nd sack on Nixon tonight so far.
Yes, he's been good in the pocket back there, but that time Keith, he just had nowhere to go. He had guys coming at him from every direction. And after the snap there, he really didn't have much going on. That was almost a busted play, if you will.
And you see here on the replay, D-Pad, Nixon was running for his life.
3rd and a mile, Keith.
3rd and 15 to be exact, but I would have to concur on the 3rd and a mile. 3rd and a long ways to go for the Huskies of Sheldon High School. 3 wide receivers set to the left. He's got Thomas and McMillan. Right side, slant route. They'll get a couple, more than a couple I should say, but not enough for the first down, and that will bring up 4th down.
Yes, but the second effort there to get about 3 or 4 more yards at the end of that now makes it a 4th and 2, so they may go for that here, Keith. It's a short 4th down attempt.
So what will Chris Nixon, the O coordinator, draw up here as down on the play looks to be Williams, and Williams is shaken up.
That would be a huge blow for the Huskies if they lose Williams. He's a catalyst. He plays both sides of the ball and special teams, as we saw him punt earlier.
And Williams is down on the ground, and he is writhing in pain. And he is not somebody that Sheldon can afford to lose right now this early in the second half.
No, Keith, that would be a big blow to them, but also a big blow to this young man if this is a serious injury. He, as you mentioned, writhing in pain. You could see him struggling out there. We hope that he's okay.
And it's hard to see who exactly is down on the field because the number is so small and it's on the opposite side.
You're right, Keith. That is Williams.
And it is Williams. We wanted to make sure we got that correct for the folks at home, as Williams able to walk off on his own power, limping a little bit, but nonetheless, Williams walks off the field. But for the time being, D-Pad, Sheldon without their leading receiver on the season. And if Williams is unable to come back, that is a problem.
That is a big play, and not only is he the leading receiver in the season, but I've been watching intently here the first half and noticed that, to be frank, he's really their main receiver, if not their only one that they're really going to, the only one that's been targeted here so far, to say the least, here in the first half. So they're going to have to find someone else. Nixon's going to have to find the next guy up because Williams is on the sideline with his foot up right now being looked at by the trainer.
Williams is on the sideline on a big 4th down attempt here as Nixon lines up in the shotgun. We're going to get a flag, and this might be a delay of game. An illegal substitution as Sheldon, to start the second half, D-pads, that's the 3rd straight play I can remember where they've had to bring someone off from the sideline onto the field. They are not in sorts right now, and Dave Filan cannot have that right now if they're going to win this game.
Not at all, and that was a killer because on 4th and 2, they were getting ready to go for that, Keith, and now 4th and 7, they're going to have to punt. And something we want to mention is that their punter, Williams, is on the sideline injured, so now we've got Nixon, the quarterback, back ready to punt here, Keith. So let's keep an eye out on that and see if he's able to get a successful punt down the field here.
Cade Gilbert, the junior, back to return this punt, and we're going to get a timeout now from Sheldon. So in a string of literally 30 seconds, Sheldon has seen their star receiver, Williams, injured. They've had an illegal substitution, and now they've had to burn one of their 3 timeouts in the second half.
Rough start here for the Huskies, and the momentum right now been on the Bulldogs side for quite some time, since about the middle of the second quarter when the Huskies, who were up 6-0, were unable to get some points on the board. Now they've given up the lead, and all of a sudden it's a 7-6 lead.
While we have this break in the action, I want to thank some of our sponsors, the Turlock Quarterback Club, Benton Roberson CPA, Willie's Pizza and Wings, and American Asphalt. American Asphalt taking care of business every day. 4th and what looks to be 7 now. So without Williams, their main punter, they're going to have to rely on their quarterback, Nixon, to fire this one towards the opposite side of the field and change the field position. Cade Gilbert, number 4, back to return it for Turlock, the junior. Good snap. It's a low punt. It's going to roll downfield, and a great job by Nixon given the circumstances, D-Padge. It's a low roller, but it rolled a little bit.
Yeah, I guess they'll take it. With their punter hurt, I'm assuming they'll take about a 25-yard punt there. It could have been a lot worse. In fact, there was a nice rush up the middle there on Nixon. If he didn't get that punt off quickly, Keith, it could have been blocked. So, yeah, they'll take the positive. You know, they got him down the field a little bit of the way.
So the last time Turlock's offense was on the field, it was the end of the first half, and Frias, with great blocking, almost ran it for a 48-yard touchdown, but no points. Now they have the lead, 7-6, the 9:22 mark in the third quarter. 1st and 10. Pass out in the flat. Dalton Lynn has a blocker. Dalton Lynn cuts it inside. Lynn still going. He's in Sheldon territory. Great blocking. Great running by Lynn. Tackle made by number 21, LeDevin Johnson.
Great play there. They'll take that all day long. Good job from the Bulldogs. But, again, LeDevin Johnson, great tackle. Pile drove him into the ground over here. Made him feel that one.
9:13 to play in the third quarter now as they're going to examine footballs, and Turlock says, we like that one. That one we think has the best magic for us.
I think they're going to give the ball to Frias here and see what he can do, see if he can build on what he was doing at the end of the second quarter.
Ball at the Sheldon 43, 1st and 10. Right you are, they go to Frias up the middle as he is tripped up, and there's a fumble on the play. Sheldon's got the ball. If it's a fumble, we have no word just yet, and it looks like Frias, the refs say, was down by contact before the fumble as Michael Sullivan came up with it out of the pile. But they will say no fumble, Frias down by contact, and that will bring up 2nd and 7.
Would have loved to get a replay on that one there, Keith. That ball did look like it was coming out before he was down.
So Sheldon unable to force another turnover in this one. 3 on the night so far. It's another handoff to Frias, who bounces it out. Still going, but he is wrestled down in the backfield. A big-time attack there as Branner, number 5, the linebacker, broke through the defensive line, D-Pad, and he was met by a couple of his buddies in that backfield.
What a play that was. 3 guys in there for the tackle for a huge loss, and that's going to bring back 3rd and a mile. And all of a sudden, this has turned into a defensive battle, Keith. That's not something we were necessarily expecting. Like you said, they played last year 41-28, 69 points, and tonight 13.
So a big-time stop by Branner and company, and now it's 3rd and 9. A loss of 2. Shotgun for the Bulldogs. Back to pass goes Paisley. He fires it left side. It's complete, and getting upfield for more is going to be number 34, Christian Cruz, who looked like he was going to go out of bounds. And we're going to get a holding call, so the great reception and yards after the catch by Cruz don't even matter at this point, D-Patch.
That was actually a great play, and after the catch, he was able to get the first down and get about another 5 yards. But we see the linebacker, Branner, clapping his hands and shaking his fist in the air there, Keith. I have a feeling that he might have been the one being held on that play.
So whether it was Branner or somebody else with the white helmets for Sheldon, nonetheless, this moves Turlock way back. How far back? Back to their own 41-yard line. 3rd and 25.
Wow.
A long way to go to convert this 3rd down. They had a first down on the flat route by Cruz. It didn't count because of the holding. Multiple running back formation. Frias lined up to the right. Dalton Lynn to the left of Paisley in the shotgun. Lynn goes out right. They hand it up the middle of Frias, who is drilled, as Sheldon with a big-time stop there, and there were numerous white helmets. Jameer Harvey, we've called his name more than a couple of times in the first half. D-Patch, his first tackle of the second.
Branner was in on that as well, and you know what, Keith? That was a back-breaking holding penalty. Like you said, they had the first down, and now it's 4th and 20, and you got to punt the ball away. A big penalty there for the Bulldogs, and so far in this game, again, they've been shooting themselves in the foot, Keith. A lot of mistakes for the Bulldogs tonight.
Diego Angel back to punt the football. Sheldon sends 2 punt returners in the backfield on the way back. It's a right fader by Angel on the punt, who goes right near the Sheldon fan section. So Sheldon will not have a chance to make up some yards there.
Interesting way that the official spotted that ball. He ran all the way back to about the 25-yard line and then walks up to the 40-yard line. I'm not really sure what he was doing, but, hey, he figured it out because that's about where the ball went out of bounds, and that turns out to be about a 25-yard net punt. Not exactly what the Bulldogs were looking for.
Well, the official figured out the ball was at the 40, and that's where it's placed, D-Pad. So Sheldon catches a break on the field position as Nixon and company come back for their second drive of the second half. Johnson up the middle. He's met in the backfield, still going as literally the entire defense swarmed on him. But if you want to get technical, number 14, Rios Rogers, who got the sack in the first half on Nixon, was right there at the point of attack. No gain. Instead, Johnson just goes back to the line of scrimmage. It's 2nd and 10 now. What a defensive effort so far by Turlock D-Pads. They've been at every place in the spot to be so far in this contest when they needed to. Hand off to Johnson, right side. Breaks the tackle. Johnson still going. Johnson, it's a foot race. Johnson still going, and he's bounced out of bounds. We're going to get a holding call, looks like, in the backfield. And this might be all for not again. Johnson's second run where he might have gotten nicked by a penalty. He does again, D-Pad. A killer penalty right there for Sheldon.
We're seeing it on both sides here, Keith. In the past couple of plays alone, when the Bulldogs just had the ball, a huge holding penalty on a 15-yard pass for a first down. Here, you get about a 30-yard run from LaDon Johnson, and that's the second time he's broken free here in the second half on a long run, called back by a holding penalty. Now it seems to me, at this point, the rest of the game, the team who's going to win, who commits the least mistakes.
2nd and 20 now from the Sheldon 30-yard line. Johnson, both of his big-time runs so far have been negated by penalties. They've been backbreakers. 3 wide receivers set to the left. Nixon going to run, looking, cross-body, ball tapped up in the air, and that was dangerous. Nixon threw it across his body, batted down by Bullock. Number 5, he was right there, as well as number 14, Rogers. Man, you talk about dangerous, D-Patch. That was a dangerous throw by Sean Nixon.
Yeah, and after that, the ball was tipped up in the air. Levi Burns, the strong safety, almost picked it off. And when the ball hit the ground, you see him hold his head immediately like, oh, no, I was right there. But he wasn't turned around to see it. Nothing he could do.
3rd and long for the Huskies. Yore goes left next to Thomas. Nixon back to pass. Going to float it right sideline. Going for it all. And it's just a little too far in front of Gabriel Brown. 4th down for the Huskies once again.
And no Wanya Williams there on that possession there, Keith. And if we look, it looks like he is still sitting on the same little bench area over here with his trainer that he was before, but he may be putting his cleats on. So let's keep an eye to see if he comes back out, because clearly they need him on the wide receiver core.
So Williams looks like he might be able to give it a go here as he sits on the trainer's table adjusting his cleats. He's up now, trying to walk, trying to run, but for the time being, his offense has to punt again. It's a decent punt that's bobbled, but it's recovered just in the nick of time by Gilbert. Gilbert bobbled that one, D-Patch, and there were some white jerseys in the vicinity of that bobble.
That could have been a nightmare there for the Bulldogs. Could have been their 4th turnover of the game. But again, a catalyst right there we've noticed. The punting. The punter is hurt. Williams is on the sideline. We had Nixon punt again as the quarterback, and I will say this. Nixon doing a great job at quarterback. Punting, maybe not his best skill, Keith, because that was only about a 20-yard punt. He's really given the Bulldogs great field position for the 2nd drive in a row.
Ball will start at the Turlock 47, 1st and 10. They send all the receivers to the left side. Freest to the left of Paisley. Now they send Gilbert in motion. It's not Paisley on the carry. It's Lynn who has the football, who is wrestled down after a gain of about 2 or 3 by Julian Amatawani. We've got a flag on the play.
No, Cruz actually looks like he hurt himself there. The tight end with the touchdown tonight, David Cruz, he went down immediately on his ankle, and you see him get up, but you could tell he's definitely hobbling. Let's see how tough this young man is.
So it looked to be a flag was on the play, but the ref pulled it back at the last minute as Cruz is hurt, like you mentioned, D-Patch. It'll be 2nd and 6 now with 5:28 to go in the 3rd quarter. Lynn sends Gilbert in motion. Up the middle. And a 1st down. And it's Frias breaking through. Anthony Frias has continued to run the ball very, very productively ever since he got off to that slow 1st quarter, D-Patch. It's a fresh new set of downs.
And as I just now noticed, we actually have Lynn in there as the quarterback. Paisley is out of the game.
Right you are, D-Patch. As I mentioned, Paisley has not started the 2nd half here. Instead, it's Lynn. 1st and 10 in Sheldon territory. The handoff inside to Frias again for about a gain of 3 or 4. Tackle is going to be made right there by number 22, Jameer Harvey.
Harvey is all over the field tonight, Keith. That's the 5th time we've called his name on the defensive end.
Harvey with that big hit in the 1st quarter to end the drive for Turlock. And you got to figure how much pressure is on the Sheldon defense if Williams is going to be at half speed or close to 65, 75%. They got to make a play. 2nd and 6. Ball at the Sheldon 36. Frias, stiff arms one man, cuts it inside as he is met by 2 Sheldon defenders, but not before he gets the 1st down. Tackle made there by Jasjeet Bim, the linebacker.
That was a great run there by Frias. He was stopped in the backfield immediately, was able to break off a couple tackles and turn what could have been a no-gainer into a 7-yard gain and a 1st down.
And now you see Turlock chewing the clock here in the 3rd quarter on a very long and very productive drive running the football. Still no Paisley. Lynn under the shotgun. Ball is dropped, and Sheldon has it. A costly fumble by Lynn, and Sheldon picks it up, and it's Harvey. Jameer Harvey took the ball. Bias as well took it. What a big-time fumble there by Turlock. Just when we were talking about how productive it was, Bias comes in, snags the football. Another turnover for the Huskies of Sheldon High.
Yeah, Harvey knocked it out there, Keith, and Bias comes up with a huge fumble recovery. And you know what? That's Lynn in the backfield, not so cohesive. You know, he makes the handoff, and it hits right off his running back. Was not a good exchange there. You know, that's what happens when you mix up your quarterbacks. You know, maybe they go back to Paisley next drive. We'll have to see.
Wanya Williams is back in the football game. He is on the left side, guarded by Cruz. Pitch to the right side. Johnson is met by the entire defensive line for Turlock. Paolo Silva, the nose guard, got there first. Number 55.
Yes, Keith, and when you called out Wanya Williams, I looked at him there, and yeah, it was a running play, but he didn't really get off of the line there to go to block even. So we're going to have to keep an eye on him and see, you know, how ginger his foot is here, Keith.
3:30 to play in the 3rd quarter. Sheldon is only down 1, but the way Turlock's defense has played, it is a very, very significant point. Shotgun for Nixon. Alonzo Yore lines up. Cruz right there to guard him. right sideline. That one is caught as McMillan dives forward for about a gain of 1 or 2, and that'll bring up 3rd and 10, it looks like. Frias with the tackle. So what do you call here?
You know, Keith, right now the Bulldogs defense is swarming them and it really putting the Huskies off guard. You've got to mix it up. Try something different here.
2:48 to play. 3rd and 10. Ball at the Huskies' own 30-yard line. Johnson lines up right side of Nixon in the shotgun. Back to pass goes Sean Nixon. Under distress, under pressure, and he's taken down by Timothy Bullock. A big-time sack by Bullock. Nixon unable to evade the pressure like he has for nearly the whole game, D-Patch. 4th down.
Another punt coming up here, and let's see if they have Nixon or Williams make the punt. You know, being the fact that Williams has a hurt foot, they may not, use him. And as we see right now, it looks like Nixon's in the backfield. Replay on that sack. Bullock in there like a beast.
So the big-time sack by Bullock. Nixon to punt it away. Punt is almost blocked. Rogers was coming in like a heat-seeking missile. The ball is going to roll forward. Deshaun Brown will down it around the 45-yard line of Turlock.
Wonder why Brown didn't let that ball bounce. The Bulldogs players had backed off, and if you let that ball keep bouncing, you're going to get a few more yards of field position there. Strange.
Well, we'll never know. What we do know is that the ball is placed now at the Bulldog 45-yard line with under 2 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Thank you for joining us tonight. Keith Jogonatis, Dustin Pageant on the call. D-Page, this is not the 41-28 score it was last year. 13 combined points in this one.
Not at all, Keith.
Paisley shotgun. The stands begin to shake. They give it to Frias left side. Actually, Paisley will keep it. And Brock Paisley, who was back in the game, was not involved at all in that last drive. And I think James Peterson saw enough on that fumble by Lynn. He said, okay, we got to get our starting quarterback right back in there.
And I knew that exactly. That's what I was coming to see when this next drive, if they took him out, that's what I mentioned, and that's exactly what they did. And I agree with Coach Peterson there. You got to keep your cohesiveness during the game. If you're going to make a quarterback change, usually that happens when your quarterback is either hurt or he's struggling really bad. Now, yes, Paisley's had himself a rough game, but I didn't think it was too rough to pull him from the game. The team was still out in front, so that possession there with Lynn, not exactly what they were looking for with the fumble, as you mentioned. They pulled him out immediately.
So we got an injured Sheldon High School player on the field. It looks like it might be number 55, Julian Amatawani. It might be just cramped up D-pad. It's pretty hot up there tonight. It was 95 at kickoff. Want to thank some of our sponsors while we have this break in the action. The Turlock Bulldogs Quarterback Club, Benton Roberson CPAs, Willie's Pizza and Wings, American Asphalt, taking care of business, FitPro GO, the best tasting shakes in the world. And then coming soon, NorCal SportsTV.com's own camp. More details and $100 discount. Go to just NorCalSportsTV.com/camp. And meeting rooms on demand. Meeting rooms in Fremont, Oakland, Fresno, and Las Vegas. Rates starting at $40 an hour. So it might have been Shaw, number 56, D-Patch, who was injured instead of Awatawani. So Shaw, the senior defensive lineman and offensive lineman, will be looked at. And a big play here as it is 2nd and 6 now from the Turlock 48. Shotgun. They hand it to Frias. Frias bounces out to the right side, and a great open field tackle there by Gabriel Brown, who had the interception earlier, D-Patch, and he gets Frias in the open field. That's not easy considering the fact that Frias is 205 pounds of solid muscle.
Yeah, and Brown, after he makes that tackle, throws up his arms, shows his muscles off. And, man, I got to tell you, he has really impressed me here tonight. Gabriel Brown as well as Wanya Williams, those two on the Huskies side, are really good footballers.
Gabriel Brown, the junior defensive back and wide receiver, came into tonight's contest as the 3rd total tackle leader on Sheldon's defense. He's definitely getting a bump tonight. Multiple running back formation. Paisley going to try to dump it off. That ball was tipped into the air, but somehow hauled in by Lynn, but not before Lynn is wrestled down by Branner, the linebacker, as Lynn got hit as he hit the turf, and he comes up a little bit shaken up as now Lynn will sit back down on the turf, and he is slow to get up.
holding his foot there, Keith, and that was a great tackle there from Branner. I don't know how Lynn held on to that ball after it was tipped in the air, but really only a 2-yard gain, and it's going to bring up 4th and about 6, and being at midfield, most likely going to be a punting situation. So far here in this third quarter, Keith, the defense is from both sides stepping it up.
Well, you talk about it, Dustin Paget, as now Lynn will limp off the field, and on his own power, Dalton Lynn plays both quarterback and running back on this team. The senior, 5'8", 160 pounds, and this has to be a frustrating game so far for Sheldon DePage. This is an offense that's coming averaging over 30 points per game, and they've only got 6 to show for it so far with all these turnovers.
Yes, 7-6 affair. Neither of these teams expected it, but hey, Huskies have plenty of time here to go down. They got a whole quarter left to go. Now they're going to have the ball, so let's see what they can do on the offensive side.
Johnson and Brown back to return the punt. Angel with a higher punt here. This one is going to get a friendly bounce, and it is still in play, and this one will go down to the Sheldon 8-yard line, Dustin Paget. What a roll off the punt by Angel.
They're going to mark him out at the 10, but that was the best punt we've seen so far of the night. That's about a 40-yard punt net there, Keith, and so far most of the punts have been about 20, so give him the credit there to pin them all the way back on the 10-yard line. And with the way the Bulldogs defense have played, 90 yards right now feels like 200 for the Huskies.
So Diego Angel, the kicker, whose extra point has given the Bulldogs the 7-6 lead. Now with maybe the biggest punt of the night, it's backed up Sheldon to their own 10-yard line to start this drive. 6 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Here we go. Nixon looking right. Going to throw the deep ball downfield. Incomplete. And we got a flag, though. Intended for Williams. It's a flag on the play. And it looks like it's going to be on number 32, Tyron Montgomery.
I don't know about that call there, Keith. The fans weren't very happy with it, and that seemed like it was incidental contact there. Williams hadn't even turned around to look for the ball. So there might have been some contact made, but, kind of an iffy pass interference call. Lucky break there for the Huskies.
Lucky break indeed, D-Patch. The ball literally moves up from the 10-yard line to give Sheldon a way more breathing room than they had to start. It's now going up, this penalty, and now that sets the ball at the 25-yard line of the Huskies.
15-yard penalty there, your typical PI in the high school football. You don't get the yardage down the field.
So Sean Nixon has had amazing stats so far to enter this season. Now he's got to go on the road here at a hostile environment in Joe Debley Stadium and give the Huskies a comeback. The junior lines up in the shotgun. And a flag.
Offsides there on number 5.
As we look to see.
Bullock.
It could be encroachment.
Yep.
And it is. It's Bullock, like you mentioned, so another 5 yards tacked on, the second consecutive penalty for Turlock here.
Yeah, that's key, too, because now it makes it 1st and 5. There's so much more you could do, Keith, on 1st and 5 than you can on 1st and 10. It leaves all of your plays open. You can even throw the ball down the field here if you want to, because 2nd and 5 isn't that big of a deal.
The ball in this drive for Sheldon started at the 10-yard line. Back-to-back penalties have now got it at their own 30. A 20-yard difference in a span of literally 20 seconds. Nixon back to pass. Final play of the third quarter. Going to go deep down the sideline. Williams, incomplete pass. And that'll do it for the third quarter as Montgomery, who was called on the defensive pass interference, this time no flag. And that will do it. The third quarter's over. 13 combined points after 3 quarters. We go to the fourth quarter. It's a slim but very powerful 1-point lead for the Bulldogs of Turlock High School. They lead Sheldon 7-6 here on NorCal Sports TV. The conclusion after this. They throw up the 4 here at Turlock High School to signal the fourth quarter is where the football game is won. and where it could rightfully be lost, as 12 more football minutes in this one. And D-Padge, last year 69 combined points, only 13 combined points tonight. The home team, Turlock High School Bulldogs, up 7-6.
Yes, Keith, but right now the Huskies with the ball, slight momentum. The way that third quarter ended was not what the Bulldogs wanted. They committed a couple of penalties. They couldn't get anything going on the offensive side. Big drive here to start the fourth quarter.
So now it's up to Sean Nixon, the quarterback and company, to come from behind and snake out a win on the road. Nixon steps up in the pocket, breaks one potential sack, fires it to Williams, who breaks a tackle. Williams still going. Williams still on his feet near the first down marker, and he's finally down. And two big plays on that one as Nixon avoided the pressure, almost had a sack, and then fired it to Williams on the crossing route on the left side as Williams gets a gain of about 9.
And they're going to give him the first down there on the 2nd and 5. Keith, just getting past the sticks was Williams, and he took a huge hit there but was able to keep on trucking.
And the one thing I noticed on that one, D-Patch, Williams was moving just fine. He looks good to me.
Oh, yeah, definitely with the way he was able to break off that tackle. I think Williams is going to be A-OK moving forward for the rest of this game. They just might not have him punting anymore, Keith.
No punts, but they'll take it if he can catch the football. 1st and 10 from the Husky 35. Outside of the right, it's Williams again. Williams still going. Tackle made by Montgomery. As Williams gets up, D-Padge and Wanya Williams grinding it out here. Obviously, by the way he's walking back to the huddle, he's not 100%, but the way he's moving, it's another first down and the second straight catch for Williams.
Yeah, 11-yard gain there, and you know what? I was waiting to see if the official, who was right on top of it, was going to call a horse collar tackle, because the way he was taken down there by the neck, it seemed like that was close, but break there for the Bulldogs. They don't get another 15-yard penalty tacked on, but that's back-to-back first downs there for Wanya Williams.
No horse collar on Montgomery, but the chains move. First down. Nixon has time, rolls right, floats it down the right side, incomplete. No pass interference call. It was intended for Williams again, as Christian Cruz, the strong safety, was there, as well as Montgomery, and as well as number 4, Cade Gilbert.
They're triple teaming Wanya Williams there, and that seems to be a smart thing to do, because honestly, Nixon has not targeted any of his other receivers except for the one drive that Williams was on the sideline. When Williams has been in the game, he's the only receiver that they're throwing the ball to, so smart to triple cover him there, but may have been a PI call. It was a little bit more contact there than we saw on the play a few plays ago where they called Montgomery for the PI there. There were 3 guys kind of converged on Williams, kind of sandwiched him, but nothing called.
Isaiah Thomas, Wanya Williams, and Isaiah McMillan line up to the left. 3 wide out set. Johnson to the right side of Nixon in the shotgun. Nixon, pressure coming, fires it left side, pass is caught and then dropped by McMillan on the sideline. And that will bring up now 3rd and 10 for the Huskies.
Yeah, Nixon does a good job to even get a throw off there. He was being pressured in the backfield there. Almost a sack from Mason Jordan right up the middle of the defensive end. Just misses it. It's going to bring up 3rd and long, and not really a 4-down situation here. So this is, a key play. If they don't get it here, they're going to have to punt the ball right back.
So what will Sean Nixon do here? His father, Chris Nixon, the offensive coordinator, and Dave finally got to draw up something here, D-Padge. Big play here, 10:39 in the fourth quarter. Sheldon down 1. Nixon, pressure coming, he's sacked again. Rios Rogers with his 2nd sack of the night. And they get to Nixon again, D-Patch.
Yes, also Mason Jordan in there again, and Nixon had nowhere to go, and he's coming up hobbling as well. Fourth quarter, 10 minutes left to go. This is going to be an uphill battle here for the Huskies. They need to score more points. Otherwise, they're going to lose this game, and they really can't get much done. Right up the middle, as we see here.
You see right here, Rogers comes left side and just lays the boom. 4th down again for Sheldon, as we are about to clock under 10 minutes on this play. Dalton Lynn back to return the punt. It's a midfield ranger. And that ball is going to roll. Gets a great roll for Sheldon down to about the Turlock 24. Downing it is Gabe Brown.
Wow, Nixon with his first big punt of the game. As soon as Williams got hurt earlier, Nixon stepped in and has been punting. His first 3 punts, not so good, Keith, but that one there, give him about a 45-yard net. Actually, the longest punt of the game.
It's going to be interesting to see what James Peterson, head coach for Turlock, is going to do here. Obviously, with 9:48, lots of football left to play, but you would think with the way Frias has gotten going as the game has evolved, they're going to feed him here to wind some time off that clock.
very key drive here, Keith. If they can go down and get a touchdown here, maybe take 5, 6, 7 minutes off the clock, they're going to put this game to bed, They're only up by a point, yeah, but 8-point lead late in the game with the way your defense is playing feels real good. So let's see what they can do on this drive. The Huskies defense needs to stay strong, needs to continue doing what they've been doing all game long and get this ball back for their team.
The football will start at Turlock's own 25-yard line. Paisley in the gun like he has been for the most part all night. Hands it off middle to Frias as Frias gets through for a gain of about 3, it looks like. Anthony Frias, who we mentioned, class president here at Turlock High School, does it all, and so far tonight he has been the bell cow, as usual for Turlock. It'll be 2nd and 7 now.
Branner in on the tackle, and we've been calling his name quite often too. Branner and Brown on the defensive side really getting the job done, as well as Demir Harvey. Those 3 guys there leading the tackling here tonight for the Huskies.
Ball at 28, 2nd and 7. It's Frias again up the middle. Frias still going as he takes a couple of Sheldon defenders with him for a ride. Branner in on the stop, as well as Michael Sullivan, number 54.
Great tackle there from Sullivan. Frias, when he gets the ball, he could be a force. Was able to kind of bust off a tackle, but didn't gain any extra yards, maybe in 1 at the most. So it's going to bring up a 3rd and 4. Interesting play call here, not a 4-down territory. Frias, yeah, he could surely get 4 yards, but you may want to throw it here. We'll have to see.
3rd and 4, one of the most crucial 3rd down attempts of the game. Paisley fires it right side. That ball was intended for Darian White, but he turned around deep patch and had no idea it was coming his way.
Oh, Jazjeet Beam almost had an interception for a touchdown there. That would have been an easy walk into the end zone. The ball missed the receiver, and Beam was right there, just happened to go right by him.
So Paisley goes pedal to the metal on 3rd and 3 and tries to fire it White's way on the stop and comeback, but White unprepared for the football there. So now 4th down. That'll bring up Angel to punt. The last time Angel punted the football deep edge, he pushed Sheldon way, way back into their own end zone.
That was a huge stop for the Huskies there. Now they have the momentum and likely going to get good field position.
Angel lets it fly, and it's a big one, and it's a beaut. Back is LaDevin Johnson, who's going to let it roll as it will get a friendly roll for the Bulldogs. Montgomery will let it slide. That ball down to the Sheldon 21.
Another long punt there. Give him a 50-yard punt there, 52 yards. How about that, Keith?
Diego Angel, who had a 32-yard field goal last week against Tracy, so he has a boot. His longest punt last week was 32 yards, and he's come close to clocking that and then some and breaking that record for his own self.
Definitely, Keith. The punters here in the second half have been playing catalyst, and there's been no points so far.
Sheldon has scored 98 combined points through the last 2 games. They've only got 6. The dump off to Johnson, still going. Johnson's still running. It's a fumble, and Turlock's got it.
No, he's down, Keith. They're calling him down, and I like that call. That was the right call. He was down on the ground, and he looks like he may be hurt, too.
Johnson is hurt as Frias came out with a pile with the football, but they're going to let him down. But even worse, LaDon Johnson is down on the field, and he is not getting up.
See if we can get a replay of that one for you guys there. What a play that was. Almost a fumble. No replay on that one.
And you hate to see this here with LaDon Johnson having such a great start to this season. You just hope it's not anything serious.
That was a key call there from the official. He was right on top of it. The whole Turlock defense thought they had the turnover. The fans sure did too. But, give the official credit, even being on the road, that was the home team and you got pressure behind you, everybody yelling in your ear what the call was. He made the right call.
And right now, when you see a couple of Turlock players trying to discuss with the officials their case, they're not going to get anywhere. It's not a fumble. They've already ruled it down by contact. So at this point, you just want to make sure you get all your players back, D-Padge, and you don't want to be chatting up with the officials. There's a long way to go here, and you don't want anything crazy. For the time being, though, the main point is that Johnson is hurt, and Johnson, like we mentioned, has come into this, these last 3 weeks. Over 500 yards rushing on the season so far. He's averaging 10 yards a carry, 181 yards against Kennedy on 16 carries, 2 TDs. Just a very talented football player. You just hope everything's all right.
I agree, and it seems like it may be pretty serious. He hasn't moved off the ground here, Keith, and, we wish him the best. But one point we want to make here in the second half is 3 injured players here for the Huskies. I feel like if they come out behind on this game and aren't able to get the victory, you might want to look at that. You got to keep your men healthy. You got to keep them on the field. Sometimes, there's nothing you could do. Football is a tough sport, and injuries are bound to happen. But when you have 3 of your better players here in the second half going off with injuries, it's going to be very tough to win the football game.
And it's not even the fact that it's 3 of the best players. It's literally 2 of the players that have been hurt tonight. Both Williams and Johnson now are on offense. They are vital parts of this offensive, chemistry here with this team.
Yes, with Williams kind of hobbled and being the only real main receiver they use, and Johnson being their catalyst in the backfield, all of a sudden, if neither of those guys are at full speed, or Johnson here seemingly maybe not coming back into this game the way he's on the ground right now, that does not look well for him coming back into this game. That's going to leave it all up to Nixon. Nixon's going to have to try something different. He's going to have to look for new receivers. He's going to have to try a new running back in the backfield. So, we want to wish him the best of luck here to LaDon Johnson, and if his family's watching at home, we're saying our prayers for him.
So Johnson sitting up. You just hope everything's all right. Such a talented young man and such a talented individual. And like you mentioned, D-Page, we're wishing the best for him, as he is not even able to put any pressure on that right leg, and they're going to have to harry him off there here in 8:13 to go. And what do you do now if you're Sheldon? You've just lost your star running back. Your star receivers, banged up a little bit. Sean Nixon's going to have to make a play.
Yeah, it's going to be up to him and LaDevin Johnson. And the backup running back, we've seen a couple of carries here from LaDevin. We've seen him make a nice kickoff return. So, we know he's speedy. We know he's got some moves. But he's going to have to pick it up as the backup running back here.
So here we go. 2nd and 7. Ball at the Sheldon 25. Nixon in the shotgun. 2 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. They send McMillan in motion. And it's a fake and it's a flea flicker. Downfield it goes. Williams almost intercepted by White.
Williams actually turned into the defender on that one. I love to see that when the wide receiver has the wherewithal to know, hey, wait a minute, I'm not going to be able to catch this ball, and that could be intercepted. So he turns around and plays it like a cornerback.
Nixon trying to go downfield. Look at this one, D-Patch. A lot of trickery in this one.
Was the right idea. Almost worked, too. Just got to give the credit to the Bulldogs for playing good defense there. Not getting fooled. The safety does not lose his zone there. Stays within that play. Was able to get the ball knocked down.
3rd and 7. And another 3rd down attempt for Sheldon. Nixon rolls left. Has time. Left side. Williams has got it. Complete 1st down at the Sheldon 40. And a big-time 3rd down conversion, as rolling out to his left was Sean Nixon, and he hit his man in stride.
Williams is down on the sideline, Keith, and he looks like he may be hurt bad. I had a feeling that, his hurt foot may come into play, and sure enough, he's down again there. Give him the credit for making that catch, though. He got hit hard right when he caught the ball. But again, he's down on the ground here, Keith, and he looks like he may be seriously hurt. It just goes to show, especially at this level, when you get an injured player, it's very tough to bring him back into the game. And I'm sure Williams was telling Coach, hey, I'm ready to go. I want to be back in there. I want to help my boys win. But, hey, they're young men. They're playing for their futures here. And, you could have maybe seriously injured this young man by allowing him to continue in this game. And he is out, back onto the sideline.
So Williams comes out. And it's just been a frustrating night for Sheldon. They came in guns blazing. The offense running as smooth as it ever has in the history of Sheldon High School. And now 2 of their biggest playmakers, Williams and Johnson, are out with under 8 minutes to go in the 4th. Nixon. It's a jailbreak screen. Left side. It's Gabe Brown. And he's close to a 1st down, a gain of about 8.
Great play there. You got to mix it up now that Williams is out of the game. LaDon Johnson's out of the game. You got to find new catalysts. Gabe Brown has been playing a great game on both sides of the ball. Give him the ball with some open field and some blockers out in front on the screenplay there. Give him 8 yards. Break it 2nd in about 2 or 3 here, Keith.
And you talk about Gabe Brown, Dustin, and how critical was it that Brown was knocked out of bounds at the 2-yard line instead of them ruling him having an interception and a touchdown to boot in the process. Would have changed the whole dynamic of the game. Sheldon would have been up right now. 2nd down. Left side. Still going. And it's going to be what looks to be LaDevin Johnson who got the first down.
Yes,
and he does.
Great run there from LaDevin. He was stopped immediately in the backfield, was able to bust off a couple tackles, give him 5 yards in the first down, Keith. And now all of a sudden, the clock is their friend. You know, they're only about 20 yards away from field goal range. You know, you take a few more minutes off the clock, go down and kick a field goal, you're putting the Bulldogs in a have to score on their last possession situation.
Ibarra is 2 of 2 for the night on field goal attempts. Sheldon for the first time in the fourth quarter inside Turlock territory. Up the middle is Johnson, who has stopped at the line of scrimmage. Right there to get him was Devin Bradley, the senior defensive end, and Sheldon has another player down.
Wow.
And it's going to be an offensive lineman, and we will wait to see who it is. It could be Lopez, number 66. As Lopez, and if it is him, he is hurt, but whoever it is, down on the ground again, and it has been a busy night for this Sheldon High School training staff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a busy night, and unfortunately in a bad way for them, having to deal with all their injured players. As we see, Williams is over there on the bench right now getting treated. And, again, this young man, the offensive lineman here, writhing in pain, holding his hands up to his head. We just hope that, you know, everybody is okay at the end of the night, you know, that these young men are not seriously injured, you know, just something, you know, a little dinged up for the night, but can move forward and get back on the field next week.
Well, it's very, very frustrating for a multitude of reasons if you're Sheldon. I mean, number one, you know, every single time it seems like they've gotten progress in a big play to get them going and get the momentum and getting in the rhythm of the game. Dustin, it's just somebody's been hurt, somebody's down, and on that side of the, you know, coin, you look at it that way, you know, in the context of football, it's, you know, we've tried our best to get this offense going the way it has been the last couple of weeks, and every time we have, it just seems like one of our main guys is hurt. You lose Williams for a little bit, then you lose Johnson, then Williams gets hurt again, and then now it's an offensive lineman down, and then now you look at it from the other side where it's your teammates and it's people you care about, and you go to camp with them, and you know, go to practice every day, and you bond with them, and then now it's like, you know, your friend's hurt, but at the same time now it's like, you know, a lot of things to think about.
Yes, and as I was just noticing, we're actually having one of their players on a cart here being carted away.
And it is Lopez.
I believe that's LaDon Johnson being carted away here, Keith, so.
Well, it looks like Johnson still might be on the trainer's table as athletic director Denise Aguilar, who for years has facilitated athletics at Sheldon High School. Great basketball program, and now the football program the last 3-4 years is starting to get going. And, you know, win, lose, or draw, they're on the right track regardless what anyone says. They are starting to get there. 2nd and 10 now from the 49-yard line of Turlock. 7:12 to play. Nixon rolls to his right. Steps up in the pocket, fires it, he's hit. It's another completion to Williams. Incomplete, unable to hold on. So Williams back in the game. They're still looking at Johnson on the trainer's table, but Williams is back in there.
Cruz knocked that one out there. Christian Cruz, the strong safety, with a huge hit there on Williams. Would have been a first down.
So the incompletion now makes it 3rd down. The second one that Sheldon's faced on this drive. The last time they had a 3rd down, D-Page, it was a completion of Williams on the left.
Yeah, look for Williams again here. He's their man in the wide receiver. They got 5 wide, but still, I think they're going to be looking at Williams.
Nixon throws it downfield. Incomplete. Intended for Isaiah McMillan. He got his hands on a D-Page, but he couldn't haul it in, and that was in part to Darian White.
That'll bring up 4th down. And let's see if they punt it away here, Keith. There's still enough time in this game. I think that they will. Looks like they're going to send Nixon out here to punt.
6:56 to be exact left on the 4th quarter clock. Thank you for joining us in what has been a low-scoring game. Keith Jogonatas alongside my partner, Dustin Paget. 13 combined points in this one. The lone factor, the touchdown by Cruz in the first half from Paisley. And then the extra point by Angel that made it 7-6, Turlock. Nixon, it's a low-line driver. It's going to get a friendly bounce. It's going to stay. Now it's going to roll some more, and what a break Sheldon catches as that ball is down near the 5-yard line of Turlock. Gabriel Brown once again there to down it.
What a punt there from Nixon. He started off a little rough on the punts after Williams got hurt, but his last 2 have been perfect.
Nixon's punt D-Page, if you ever watch golf, when they hit it on the green, the ball spins back. That's what it kind of looked like. It was low. It looked like it was going to go towards the end zone. He catches a good break, and the ball spins and lands right where they wanted it to.
Now they have to step it up again and play the same defense they've been playing. They need a 3-and-out here, Keith. If they can force a 3-and-out and punting out of the end zone, then the Huskies will be in a prime position to go down and win the game.
What a football game this turned out to be. A back-and-forth battle of will, tug of war. Neither team able to score a whole bunch of points. 1 point to be exact, is the difference maker thus far. Paisley now goes under center. Frias bounces it to the left as he stiff arms a couple, and he is finally wrestled down by Harvey on the left side.
Good tackle there, but a better run. That's going to be about a 7-yard gain on first down. They'll take that all day long. And with the clock now is their best friend. If they can get 3, 4, 5 first downs, their game's over. They don't even need to score again. They just need to milk this clock and keep getting first downs.
Sheldon has 2 timeouts remaining. You remember D-Pads, they took that one early in the third quarter. A full 3 timeouts remaining for Turlock. They give us to Frias again. He's close to a first down, and he probably got it. And they will give him it. He moves the chains. First down, Bulldogs. So now we are just about to go in these next couple plays, D-Patch, under 5 minutes. Sheldon's defense has hung tough all night. They need to get this ball back if they're going to have a chance to win. They cannot allow Frias and Turlock to just chew that clock up.
That's what they'll try to do. They have a lot of field to do so they can continue to keep running the ball. And if they get first downs here, that'll be all that they really need to do.
Ball placed at the 19-yard line of Turlock. Paisley under center again to Frias. Frias up the middle. Anthony Frias bounces it to the left side. He's got one man to beat. Stiff arm still going, and he's pushed out of bounds by LaDevin Johnson. Way, way deep in the Sheldon territory. And Frias with a game-changing run there.
Huge run for first down. Give him about 30 or 40 yards there, Keith.
You see here on the replay, finally Frias breaks free, D-Padge, and it couldn't have come at a better time for Turlock.
Definitely not. Now they're in a position to where they can add on. Look at this run. He bounces out to the outside, uses his stiff arm right about here at midfield, and gets himself an extra 15 yards.
So now it'll be first down at the Sheldon 35. They give it right back to Frias, who tries to cut it up, and he is wrestled down there by number 58, Malcolm Brock. Brock, who came into this game with 29 total tackles that led Sheldon's defense, also had 16 solo tackles out of those 29, so Brock is a big fixture on this defense.
I haven't called his name much today here, Keith, but he got a big tackle there, but it's going to bring up 2nd and 5, and you see the offensive lineman there saying eat up the clock, and that's what they're doing here, Keith. Under 5 minutes left to go.
We are officially under 5 minutes to go, and it's 2nd and 5 from the Sheldon 30. Flag thrown as Frias gets it again.
That's either going to be an offsides or an illegal formation. It wouldn't be a false start because they didn't blow the play dead.
Barrett Staley on the tackle, number 53 for Sheldon, the senior defensive lineman. False start on Turlock, and that will be a 5-yard penalty. So it'll be 2nd and 10.
You know what's funny is that both the false start and the legal formation have the same call, and that was actually an illegal formation call. How we know? Because it wasn't called dead before the snap. BA announcer, a little bit off on that one, but that will be an illegal formation penalty, which is a huge penalty. Now it's 2nd and 10.
And more importantly for Sheldon High School, the clock stops at 4:49. Paisley with no rush lines up. Frias, inside handoff. Frias still going. First down for the Turlock Bulldogs. Anthony Frias trying to put this game away, D-Patch, with some big-time back-breaking runs.
He's had 3 of them here on this drive, and that was big on a 2nd and 10. It was nothing more than a run right up the middle. And with the way they've been playing, you would have expected the Huskies to be looking for that. That's what they've been doing here. You know, you can't give up 12 yards on a 2nd and 10 on a run right up the middle like that. The Huskies right now have to buckle down. We're getting near the 4-minute mark. No more field to work with. They've got to stop them here, Keith.
Tick, 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 tick. The clock continues to run. First down. Up the middle is Frias. Cuts back to the right side. Anthony Frias will go to the corner. Touchdown, Turlock Bulldogs.
What a run there from Frias to try to put this one on ice here at the end of the game here, Keith.
But keep in mind, depending on what Turlock decides to do off the touchdown by Frias. See right here before we get to that deep pass, what a run.
Great cutback in the middle of the field right about here. Says, okay, see you later. To the house, nobody left.
And there was no one there.
Big extra point here, Keith. That'll make it an 8-point game.
Angel on to kick maybe the biggest extra point of the contest so far without question. It's good. 14-6 Turlock after Frias with a big-time cutback run to the right side. And now, if you're Sheldon, you've not only got to score a touchdown, Dustin Padgett, to have a chance of tying this game, you got to get a 2-point conversion.
Yes, Keith, and that was a huge 94-yard touchdown drive. Started on their own 6, and they did it all in less than 4 minutes. That's probably the only thing the Bulldogs didn't like about that drive, is that they didn't take as much clock as they probably could have. 4 minutes is more than enough time here for the Huskies. But as you said, the best that they could do is hope for a tie at this point going down the stretch in an overtime situation.
Tomorrow morning on all the podcasts and all the newspaper clippings, obviously they will talk about Frias and how, listen, without Frias melting the clock the way he has, and obviously that touchdown, they're not in position to win this game, D-Padge. But what about Angel? The key extra point in the first touchdown off the pass from Paisley to Cruz for the touchdown, and then now knocking home that extra point that now forces Sheldon, should they get the touchdown, to go for 2 points to tie this one up.
He's also been punting the ball really well. That helps. Their special teams has been great. Defensively, they've been playing astounding in the second half. Even in the first half, they stopped Sheldon on that first and goal on the 1. And ever since that point, the Bulldogs have been in control of the momentum of this game.
Great kick by Angel. And getting that one to the 20-yard line. As we get the number real quick for you, it looks to be McMillan who had it, or Thomas. Couldn't really check because of the pile, but nonetheless, Sheldon will start with this football at their own 23-yard line, and 4 minutes and 3 seconds to go, and it's been a tough sledding D-Padge for Sean Nixon and company.
Yeah, it's been a rough go here in this second half, but they only one score away here, Keith. This game is far from over. They need to focus down here on this drive and make sure they get everything right. But again, about the 10th time today we've seen they have been mixed up on the offensive line before the play. We had to have a guy run on the field here.
Good kick. Number 74 comes in, and we're going to get a whistle before this one even gets to go. It looks like it might be a false start on Sheldon. We'll wait and see. False start it is.
Huge. Now it's 1st and 15.
So like you mentioned, 1st and 15 now for Sheldon D-Padge. And, I mean, if you're Dave Filan and company, it's been a tough night. You only managed to score 6 points so far after you were, 98 combined points the last 2 weeks. It's tough.
Yeah, definitely that first half. I mean, they had the ball in the red zone twice, weren't unable to score touchdowns. They only got 2 field goals. Otherwise, this could be a 14-14 game right now.
Nixon steps up, flings it left side. It's Isaiah McMillan, and he will get about 2 or 3 as that one was floated up in the air. McMillan gets it. 3:47 to go.
It's actually a really good play on both sides, and Nixon to be able to get that ball away before being sacked, and the receiver not only to catch it, but then to notice where he was in the field, to turn up the field. They got all the penalty yards back plus 3 more. So it's going to bring up about 2nd and about 7 now.
Like you said, 2nd and about 7, 3:28 to play now. And it looks like we got another timeout, and if that's on Sheldon, they've only got 1 timeout remainder. It might just be a stoppage in the action.
You know what they were doing is the downs marker had 3rd down up, and the PA announcer was confused too. The official had to motion over to the downsman and say, hey, this is 2nd down, not 3rd down.
So they'll give them 2nd and 6 now from the Sheldon 18-yard line. It looks like that might be incorrect because the ball is obviously not at the 18-yard line. It's at the 25.
Yes.
3 wide receivers set to the right for Sheldon. Ball on their own 25.
I don't think we're getting a play here, Keith. I see the official coming over to the sideline. Signaled thumbs up, so I think we're good to go now. I'm not sure what they were discussing.
Well, something happened, and we don't know what, but we know Turlock is not happy down there. Some of the coaches are frustrated. So now play resumes as the whistle sounds. 3:28, 2nd and 6. Nixon steps up, flag down, but Nixon is wrestled down on the sack. Some extracurricular activities by Kakake, number 74.
Likely a holding penalty.
It's going to be holding on Sheldon. Another penalty. And another frustrating thing to happen to the Huskies here in the second half.
So they're talking to him about declining it or accepting it. It's either going to be 3rd and 11 or 2nd and 18, and they're going to decline it, make it 3rd down. I think that's the right move to make here.
So it'll be 3rd and 11 now for Sheldon with 3:22 to play, and this offense just really every time they try to get going, something else has happened. It's been one thing after another in Avalanche, D-Patch.
Yes, and I don't know if this is 4-down territory or not. It's close. You got 2 timeouts, so if they don't get it here, they may still punt it.
3rd and 11, shotgun, Nixon. Going to go down the right side, ball in the air. White can't intercept it. It doesn't matter. It's incomplete, intended for Williams.
Now let's see what they do here. 3:16. If you go for it and you don't get it, that's game over. You're almost conceding at that point. So that being said, I feel like punting it is the right move to make. You got 2 timeouts, so if you stop them on one set of downs, you'll get the ball back. So let's see if they punt here on 4th and long.
3:16 to play. Sean Nixon, 8 combined touchdowns the last 2 weeks, none tonight, and they will go for it here on 4th down. And this is very well could be the football game, as you mentioned, Dustin.
Definitely.
4th and 11 from Sheldon's own 22. Nixon looking left, and he throws it at the ground, intended for Williams, incomplete. And Turlock will take over on downs.
I think maybe down and out there. Ooh, we got a flag. That might be a late hit on the quarterback, Keith.
We do have a flag, and this could be costly if it's a late hit.
That was a really late throw on the flag, too. He tossed it well after the play was over.
Well, let's see what it is.
Grounding.
Intentional grounding. Wait a minute.
Roughing the passer.
No, roughing the passer.
Wow.
Wow,
Keith. After the play was almost done, they were almost dispersing to the sideline, and they threw the flag down on the ground. I think they were discussing between the officials if that was the right call to make. And how big of a blow is that to the Bulldogs? This game was over. They would have had the first down on the 20-yard line, could have kicked a field goal, ran the clock out. Instead, all of a sudden, the Huskies have new life.
And, folks, to put it in perspective, I literally looked down at my notes, looked at Dustin, looked back up, and the flag was on the ground. Huge break for Sheldon. Nixon with new life down the field. He finds his man Isaiah Thomas. First down at the Turlock 40. A late roughing the passer, and just like that, Nixon takes full advantage. He hits Thomas, the 5'8 junior, down the field, and the ball now plays to the Bulldog 40.
Wow, Keith, and they have more than enough time right here. They got 2 timeouts, 3 minutes. Plenty of time to go get this 40 yards. So, this is a really key moment in this game, and I tell you, man, that penalty is just, oh, man, we've seen so many crazy penalties in this game, but that one there was so huge. Talk about a momentum change. I mean, the game was seemingly over, and all of a sudden they throw that late flag.
So we're going to get a stoppage of play now as a injured Bulldog is down on the field, and it looks like it's Tyron Montgomery, the defensive back, number 32. And let's just talk about that a little bit. Do we have a replay on that last 4th down conversion? We do not, unfortunately. But I think we can paint a mental picture while we hope that Montgomery's okay. D-pads, literally Nixon threw the ball to the ground, and, you look up and he's on the ground and there's a flag, and, not saying that the ref made the wrong call, but very, very late. You would have to agree.
Yes, definitely a late call, and I saw him as the head official talking to the other official that was near him. So they had a discussion before they threw the flag. So that being said, the fact that they discussed it, Keith, I feel like they probably made the right call. We didn't really get a good glimpse of a hit there. That ball was thrown away. Nixon had no chance to complete that pass, so the penalty was useless. Whatever hit he may have had on him was unneeded. That is a big mistake from the Bulldogs defense. Like I said, there was no throw to be made. He threw the ball into the ground there, so it would have been an easy turnover of downs.
Montgomery able to run to the sideline. He's okay. 1st and 10 of the 38-yard line of Turlock. The give is on the jet sweep left side to Brown, who cuts back inside for a gain of about 4.
Another injured player here for the Bulldogs, and this one, this game is starting to get a little chippy here, Keith. We're having a lot of players down on seemingly every play.
Gilbert was down for a minute.
Gilbert, yep. He's back up, though.
The clock continuing to tick here with 2:30 to play. Sheldon taking their time. D-Patch, ball at the 36-yard line here on 2nd and 8.
Clock doesn't really play much of a factor here for them. They've got more than enough time to get where they need to be, so they're taking their time.
The crowd starting to chant defense and get into it here at Joe Debley Stadium. Swing pass goes nowhere, maybe a gain of 1 or 2. Gabriel Brown with the catch, and that sets up another big-time 3rd down for Sheldon as we are about to clock under 2 minutes.
Looks like he actually lost a yard there, Keith, and it's going to bring up about a 3rd and 8 here. And I don't know about that play call. I know you're kind of running thin on the offensive side, but didn't really have much going there. So they got 2 plays here to get about 8 yards to get this 1st down to keep this drive moving.
Sean Nixon under fire here. Can he deliver for the Huskies? He drops back to pass. He's under pressure. Gets out of it. Still going. Throws it downfield. Pass caught. And it's going to be a 1st down. How did Nixon get out of that one? Dustin Pageant, he was dead on the money by the looks of it, but he escaped, rolled out of the pocket to the left, and he fired it downfield to McMillan for a gain of 10.
I have no idea how he got that ball away, Keith. He had 2 guys right in his face. It seemed like it was going to be an easy sack. And not only did he get it away, but he gets it to the line to gain here. It looks like they may be a little short. They're going to measure it here, and that's big. It's either going to be 4th and inches or a 1st down. So, wow, they've got the yard marker 2 yards back. I don't know about that.
See here on the replay, D-Patch, what a throw.
Yes. It's going to be 4th down and about a half a yard. They moved the yard marker up. It's 4th and inches here, Keith. And you know what? What I would do if I was Coach Filan here, especially without LaDon Johnson, is do a quarterback sneak here with Nixon up the middle. You only need a half a yard. You got to get it. Clock is running. They're going to call one of their 2 remaining timeouts. I don't know, Keith. That we'll have to see if that comes back to bite them here in a little bit.
1:22 to play. If you're just joining us here on NorCal Sports TV, Keith Joganas alongside my partner, Dustin Pageant. A low-scoring affair. Frias' touchdown made it 14-6 for the Bulldogs. Sheldon looked to be forced to turn the ball over on downs, but then a very, very late, literally ironic, late penalty on a late hit call gave Sheldon new life. Nixon has made a couple of plays. On the last play there, D-Patch, he gets out of the pocket, rolled to his left, and found McMillan for what assumed could have been a 1st down, but it's a huge 4th and 1 call here. The ball placed at the Turlock 28. You don't have LaDon Johnson. He's hurt. You've got Williams still on there. What are you calling here if you're Dave Filan and Chris Nixon?
I called nothing else but a quarterback sneak here. You see where the downs marker is. They literally only need some inches here. All you got to do is get a few inches. Put the ball right up the middle with Nixon on a quarterback sneak and move on to the next play, as you only have about 1 minute and 20 seconds and 1 timeout. If they get this 1st down, you still got about 27 yards left to go, Keith. So they got to get there.
So here we go. The play of the game. Shotgun formation for Sheldon on 4th and 1. Nixon rolls right. Looking. Going to fire it. Ball is tipped up in the air, incomplete. And he had McMillan wide open. But a big-time defensive play by Turlock. Number 44, Jackson, the linebacker.
That'll be all she wrote there, Keith. With only 1 timeout left, they can kneel on it here, and that'll be the end of the line. You only needed a few inches, and I know Coach Filan at the end of this game is going to be head-scratching himself for that call, trying to make a pass completion there when you only needed a couple of inches. You would have been best suited going in the I formation, not the shotgun, and running the ball up the middle to get yourself a few inches there.
And if you're Sheldon, you came into this game, the offense was flourishing, and you likely come out of it with 2 of your top playmakers hurt. You fought the whole night, and it was just one thing after another. And for Turlock, what a grinded-out win. As taking a knee is going to be Paisley. Sheldon will use their last timeout. And Dustin Pageant, it was not a high-scoring game at all, 20 combined points compared to the 69 scored last year at Elk Grove. But if you're Turlock, I mean, hey, there were a couple of times where they could have easily gave up 6 points early in the first quarter off the 2 interceptions. They didn't. They held their own. And this is a win that James Peterson, Brock Paisley, Anthony Frias, and all of them to go to 3-1 are going to be very, very happy about tonight on the way back home.
Yeah, especially the way that they won this game, too. And again, coming down here on this car ride, we said could go one of two ways. It's going to be a low-scoring game, favors Turlock. High-scoring game, favors Sheldon. Well, we got the low-scoring game we were expecting, and at the end of the day, it did turn out to favor Turlock. They're going to come out on top. And I tell you, the first half was the key of this game. It wasn't the second half. It was the first half where the Bulldogs held the Huskies in the red zone 2 different times to field goals. Huskies unable to capitalize, and in the second half really couldn't get anything going. The Bulldogs defense locked them up tonight. Great defensive battle we saw here, Keith. Bulldogs come out on top.
And for Sheldon High School, I mean, we clocked it with traffic, and obviously Friday, 5 p.m. rush hour traffic. It's about a 2-hour drive, so roughly a minute and 30 if you shave off some of the traffic, and that's going to be a long car ride home.
Yeah, definitely. I can't say enough to, especially the injuries is how much is going to be on them here tonight. We've got quite a few players injured here tonight, and we saw, what could be some bad ones. So we hope moving forward for Sheldon's sake next week that they've got all 4 of their guys back that got hurt tonight.
Paisley takes another knee as we are officially under a minute to go. As the clock winds down, they will likely take one more knee, and that will basically put an end to this affair. And Sheldon will send off their entire defense. The final knee. And that will do it as the final 30 seconds ticks off this clock. Turlock in the rematch winning 14-6. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't a spectacle. But the Bulldogs get it done at home, D-Patch.
Yeah, definitely. They started out this game slow. Sheldon got out into the lead early, 6-0. But 14 unanswered points here for the Bulldogs. Put them in as the victors here tonight. They will be moving on with a 3-game winning streak. Sheldon's 2 games winning streak is snapped. 3-1 here on the season for the Bulldogs. And you know what, Keith? Look out for them here for the rest of the season moving forward. They may very well be competing for their conference this year.
Well, many picked them before the season started, James Peterson and his Bulldogs, to win the CCA. Obviously, a win like this, it's not a stamp where you make your case, where you blow out a team by 40 or 50 points. But a game like this is very, very valuable, D-Patch, because it showed you that when the going got tough, Turlock was able to hang in there and win a hard-fought, grinded-out football game.
That's exactly right, Keith. You couldn't have said it any better. They were really battling tonight. They were outplayed in the first half. We were talking about that at halftime. Yes, they were winning by a point, but they had been outplayed. The second half, they outplayed Sheldon. They came out in the second half, and they really were strong on the defensive side. They didn't give Nixon and the Huskies anything to work with offensively. And then, of course, in the second half, catalyst of this game was the injuries for the Huskies in the second half here, Keith. They had a few players go down, and they were out for key moments in them. They didn't allow them to score any points here in the second half, and that was a key. And, of course, Frias with the big 94-yard drive that was, mostly done by him on the ground there in the fourth quarter. Biggest drive of the game here for the Bulldogs, really put the cement on it.
Well, that will do it. The final score here, 14-6, as Turlock beats Sheldon in the rematch at home here at Joe Debeley Stadium. This has been another NorCal Sports TV production. For my partner, Dustin Paget, for all of us here at NorCal Sports TV, I'm Keith Joganato signing off. Once again, the final score, the Bulldogs of Turlock 14, the Huskies of Sheldon High School 6. We'll see you next time, same day on a Friday night. Until then, we'll see you soon. Have a good one.
They will hear you.